What's going on, folks? And we're back. Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear the microphone with no static or crackle. It's brand new, so you shouldn't. And the story of the day is we're going to talk about the Supreme Court in Texas and also Elon Musk moving to Texas. So that's the story. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. How's the audio? I need full audio. I can't have a little crackles like last time. People said it was crackly. It should not be. Everything good? Give me a thumbs up if it's 100%. No crackles. We're not playing with the crackles, folks. If there's crackles, it's not right. All right. Perfect. What's up, Facebook? What's up, YouTube? We're back live on both platforms. I guess my microphone, which is brand new, is a little crackly and can't have that, but we're going to talk about the Supreme Court Texas situation, and a few other Republican states have joined in. And also Elon Musk moving to Texas. Both big stories. I dubbed today Texas Day because lots going on with Texas. So we'll just hang out for a minute, let everybody come in. Thank you guys for joining again on YouTube. Thank you guys for joining again on Facebook. Maybe it wasn't plugged in all the way. So before we get into the Supreme Court stuff, we're going to wait for people to get in, but I'm really pumped to see that Elon Musk is leaving California for Texas. I live in California, and obviously we want the economy to be well, but he's one of the biggest liberals, even though he kind of doesn't like them. He does stuff. He produces things. He makes Teslas. He has Solar City. He's a big deal in their, end scheme, I believe, and he doesn't even want to be there. I'm going to read some quotes from it in a second, but that's a huge deal. And hopefully that continues, and maybe that forces Democrats to do a little bit better, because as I was saying before we broke up last time, before this year, I thought we really had the upper hand, and I still do in some senses, but I'm like, none of these plans are going to work. They're not going to get away with it. How are they going to pull this off? And then this year was just the grand deception. It's like every communist scheme that they wanted to accomplish with other stuff like the climate change agenda and other things, they kind of pulled it off and got away with almost everything this year. Medical takeover, shutdowns, shutting down your business. And it was really disappointing. And they tried to break our spirit, as I said earlier, which we won't let them. They want us to be depressed. They want us to be down. It was a really bamboozle of a year. And I think a lot of people were caught by a blindside. But this Elon Musk news of him leaving for Texas really makes me feel good, because I think that they need someone like him, especially if they're trying to control all transport, especially if they're trying to get away with everything they're doing by keeping everyone on the grid. They need everybody in the technology industry to follow suit. Of course, Elon could be playing a certain role, but I doubt that they want him to leave California. And the fact that he's taking however many jobs, maybe tens of thousands of jobs, his technology company, over to Texas is pretty interesting. I'll read some quotes since I won't make you guys wait, since it's the second launch. Elon Musk says he's moved to Texas, calls California overly complacent. The Tesla CEO Elon Musk has joined 1/5. They say 1/5 of Americans who have done a pandemic move. After spending most of his life in California, Musk has relocated to Texas. He criticized California's economic environment as another reason. If a team is winning for too long, they tend to get complacent, Musk said. California has been winning for a long time, and I think they're taking it for granted. So he's taking his business down to Texas and pretty much just slapping them in the face, saying they've been winning for too long and they're getting complacent. California has one of the biggest economies in the world. Literally, if you compare the California economy to other world economies or other country economies, it's one of the biggest. So even though everybody always says, oh, California, what's up with California? Nobody wants to live there. They haven't really cared in a while, because they control technology companies, Google, Facebook, a lot of these huge sectors that they pretty much just dominate with Silicon Valley. They never really felt the pressure. Like, they just do whatever they want, and they seem to always get away with it, and the money seems to come. And that's where, with Trump, he always green lights all this stuff when they're like, oh, I need the COVID money. I need the forest fire. Every time a fire happens, they get all this federal funding and stuff. It's like they never get held accountable. So they never seem to change. And that's one, I think, critique against big government, like the socialists and progressives. They always say, this is what happens. But I've made a few videos where I explain imagine if you have a business and no matter what your business does, you get money next year. That's basically taxes on a federal and state level, especially these Democrat states where they could do nothing. They could literally lock you in your house, like this year, lock you in your house, keep you out of your business, shut down your business, and they still force you with taxes to pay them for the next year. So they have no incentive to ever stop, because no matter how bad of a job they do, they always get the money next year. It's a very bad system in that sense. And, it's one of the reasons that they never get better. Is this going to be enough to make California actually get better? Elon Musk leaving? Maybe not, but I definitely think it sends a shockwave. And I'm kind of on the fence about Elon, because I know a lot of people that I follow, they don't like a lot of his businesses. They don't like what he's doing up in space and all that stuff up in the higher realms of the atmosphere and such. But I find him an interesting character, because either he's a really good, actor as far as like pretending to be semi on our side, or he really doesn't capitulate with them. And I'm not quite sure. I don't put that much stake into it emotionally, but he's very vocal against the opposite of what the Bill Gates and Ted Turners want to do. I've shown the clip before, but they always talk about lowering the population. Ted Turner, Bill Gates, they say there's too many people. We need less people. We need to, have vaccines and birth control, and that's going to make population growth lower. And that's kind of their whole ideology. And that drives a lot of, their COVID and climate change ideology, which people should realize. It's like the same people that are pushing COVID-19, climate change, democratic policies are the same people who literally think there should be less people on the planet. If that's not a wake-up call, I don't know what is. But Elon Musk has always talked against that. He's always said, actually, I disagree. He was on a stage with Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba, and he said, I think the opposite problem is the problem. We're going to have a population collapse. So as Bill Gates and Ted Turner and these type of folks are telling you we need less babies, we need less people, Elon's always said the opposite quite publicly. He's like, frankly, I disagree. And he comes off as very genuine to me. I mean, obviously, it's easy to fool people, but I've always even though I don't agree with everything he does scientifically and politically, he seemed to rail against COVID-19, in my opinion, harder than Trump did. I'm not, and people, when I say this, people are like, anomaly, he's this, he's that. I'm just an analyst, okay? I'm not sitting here saying, I trust Elon Musk with my life. He's going to save my world. I'm just looking at it from afar, and I'm like, he's done more than Trump to really stop COVID-19. In March and April and May, he one of the biggest voices, not only speaking against the lockdowns, calling them fascist, but he also really explained to people how it was happening, which almost no one's done. I've seen nobody on Fox News do it. I've seen none of my peers, or very few of my peers, do it on social media, explain to people how they're counting cases and how they're counting deaths. Because a lot of this, besides policy, is psychological. So if people don't understand, they're afraid. How do you make people not afraid? You can't force them, but if you show them the information and really explain it to them, you could lower the fear, which Trump never did, in my opinion. I don't, he said a few things, but Elon went on Joe Rogan and really fully explained the scheme of how they're counting cases and how they're counting deaths, and said it to a huge audience. So I'm like, okay, so he's against, or says he's against, the depopulation agenda. He thinks we need more babies. He's against the COVID shutdowns. He thinks they're fascist. And now he's taking his technology company and moving to Texas and just that's one of the biggest blows to California that I've seen recently. So, I'm not saying I fully trust him, because I understand a lot of people are like, listen, anomaly, he's doing this and that. I'm just saying, I'm like, wow, this guy seems to be holding a fire to these global communists. And on every level, he at least seems like he's not playing along. But, you check his finances, like other things. He's connected to certain people. He's such a big wig. He's doing business with everybody. So take it with a grain of salt. But I think it's a good step in the right direction that Elon Musk is moving his technology business to Texas. Hopefully this type of pressure continues and California gets better. I pray, as a California citizen and resident, I hope we can win the next election with somebody who's actually legit. If not, I might be on my way to, I don't know, Texas, Florida, South Dakota. I don't want to stay in a state where they're going to treat me like a prisoner. And when it comes to, we don't get scared. I always say this: don't get scared, get prepared. And when I say this type of stuff that I'm about to say, I don't say it to scare you. I say, just be aware. If you have a family, if you're by yourself, whatever, if you live in California, if you live in New York, maybe even New Jersey, a lot of these Democrat states are going to be the ones that push the mandatory vaccination. They're already writing articles about it. They're going to make it possibly mandatory in schools in California. And then, they're going to do in certain businesses and healthcare. And that's how they're going to do. And I've said this for a while. It's probably not going to be federal. Maybe Biden, if he got in, I'm not saying he will. We're going to get to the next story. But, I don't think it's going to come federally. I think it's going to come statewise in schools, in businesses, in a lot of these stores, to the point where you're almost not allowed in society without it. And I heard someone recently, she said, Anomaly, how could I support small businesses with where I live? There's a Costco here. There's this. A lot of the more rural areas, there aren't that many small businesses. The big corporations have taken over, and that's really the main hub where everyone shops. I'm not telling people what to do. It's like support who you can, but we all have to sacrifice something. A lot of people use Amazon or go shopping. At a certain point, you're almost forced to, and that's going to be the trick, I think, of the next couple of years, is trying to figure out how to operate in a society where they are forcing so much stuff on it. That's why, I'm going to talk about the next story, but that's why I've been so passionate about, listen, if Trump wins, if Biden wins, we have to be 100% anti-lockdown. We need our freedom back. I'm going to show this picture before I compliment Ted Cruz. I hate to start off on a bad note, but what is this? He's wearing like the Texas mask. You guys see that? It's like, listen, I get it, but he's got Texas mask on. It's like, just stop. It's like United States America shackles or something. You got shackles on your legs, but they have the America logo. It's like, if you really want to free Texas and free the country, I would love to see politicians just be like, I'm not wearing a mask. I'm not enforcing. I'm not wearing it. I don't like this. Like, I'm a patriot from Georgia wearing my mask. I'm so tired of these masks, but you get it. I won't harp on it. So the main story I think a lot of people want to hear, and I want to hear your thoughts as well. Texas Senator Ted Cruz to present Pennsylvania election lawsuit to Supreme Court if they take the case. So Trump has a few routes that he's going for. I think one of the main ones before this Supreme Court case is the electors. There is a constitutional way that President Trump can win, even if this doesn't go through. I think the electors of the state, there's more Republicans than there are Democrats, and technically they could go rogue and just send their electors towards Republicans if they feel that there's enough evidence there to say that it's a bunk election or Republicans won. It's technically constitutional. It's never been done before, but this process has really never been tested this hard. It's kind of exposing our process for the good and bad of all just the nonsense, the machines, USB cards, mail-in ballots. This year is like a train wreck. If you could take every crazy bad part about the US elections and throw them into one, that was this year. It's like pandemic, more mail-in ballots. It's like, what about IDs? They're talking about vaccine certificate cards, and we don't even have an ID for a voting booth, and they call it racist. It's pathetic. I mean, this is like, in some ways, the complete exposure of the US system. And whether it's like a setup or not, one thing that I think we could take away from it is, top to bottom, machines, mail-in ballots, non-ID. It's a joke. This whole system's a joke. And we'll see if that's enough for them to decide. The Supreme Court, I heard that Louisiana, Alabama, there's a few other red states getting involved with it. Those are the two angles I guess they're going. One, they're going to try to take it to the Supreme Court. Two, the state electors could technically go rogue. And here's where it gets interesting. Listen, I don't care as much. I'm not saying I don't care, but to be honest, I don't care. I'm sorry. I'm just saying about the election as much as other people, because I'm seeing Operation Warp Speed, this, that. I'm like, listen, I'm concerned about my freedom. Nobody seems to have my back. The GOP is just like spineless. They just blend over for all these Democrat governors. If you live in a blue state and have a red mayor, the red mayor just doesn't do anything. They just, act floppy. And then if you live in a red state in a blue city, the blue city seems to control everything. So it's like, why do Democrats just get away with anything anywhere they go? And Republicans are just like, they remind me, you ever been to like a car dealership where they have that guy with his arms flailing on? Like, that's what they remind me of on Twitter. They're like, Bill Barr. It's like, no one takes your threats seriously. No offense, but it's like, Eric Swalwell's working with China. It's like, yeah, he probably doesn't care because no one gets held accountable. Hillary didn't get locked up. We got locked up. So, I don't think any of these people take you seriously. It's like, I'm going to get you tomorrow. Like, no, you're not. So no one cares. But in general, I think he has a path. And what I want to say is if Democrats can shut down churches, if Democrats can shut down your business, if Democrats can shut down your state and city, Republicans can constitutionally vote for Trump. And electorally, I think on the state legislature level, just say, you know what, we're going for Trump. So if they can do all of that, I think Republicans can do that. Where I differ from other people is at this point, it's not that I don't care, but I care a lot less than other people. It's not a priority because I'm more shocked at how complacent, I guess, Republicans have been under this lockdown, and it kind of creeps me out. So I'm like, all right, what's going to make people wake up? I want to read a tweet real quick, and then I'm going to read your questions. So overall, before I read this tweet and get to your questions, just ask me anything. I'll be here for like an hour or so. I think the Supreme Court's a possibility. I'm not a lawyer. This is pretty unprecedented in many ways anyway, so we'll see what happens. I think that's a route. And the other route that they're going for is state legislatures. So the state legislatures and the electorates, they could technically just say that there's enough fraud and vote which way they want, which is probably what Democrats would do if they were in power. So we'll see if they have the spine. But it's a tricky situation either way. I'm just going to read this tweet, and then I'm going to get to questions. This, in my opinion, I love Liz Wheeler. She had me on her show on One American News Network. She seems like a nice woman. Very attractive, but I'm sure, she might not be single. I'm just saying, from a human perspective. But in general, I like her. But this tweet, in my opinion, encapsulates everything that's really wrong with the Republican Party right now as far as mindset. And I'm not trying to throw it all on her, but I'm just going to read it. And I see a lot of this in the Republican Party. She said, so Biden's COVID-19 plan includes masks, vaccinations, opening schools. President Trump's plan has been masks, vaccinations, open schools. But let me guess, the mainstream media will cheer on Biden as the savior while blaming Trump as the Grim Reaper. So in general, I agree with her. It's like, yes, everything that Trump does and Biden does when they do the same thing, Trump's the bad guy, Biden's the good guy. The media's fake. They lie about everything. Trump is the fall guy. They'll blame him for everything. So technically, I agree with her, yes. But here's the problem. It's like, she's owning the libs by admitting that President Trump is doing the exact same thing as Joe Biden. That's the problem. It's like owning the lib, like, yeah, you're going to blame. It's like, no, the real takeaway from that tweet, in my opinion, is you just admitted that Trump's COVID plan is the same as Biden's COVID plan. And that doesn't even like ring a doorbell in your head to be like, well, that's not good. Why is Trump's plan vaccinations and opening schools when that's Biden's plan? So it's like, you get what I'm saying? Everybody's so busy owning the libs that they always get fooled. Like, we're going to own the libs by rushing the vaccines. We're going to get Trump credit for it. He's doing the same thing as Biden. It's like, he shouldn't be doing the same thing as Biden. That's the problem. He rushed vaccines faster than Bill Gates could have. He did lockdown. He has been weak on this stuff. So it's like, what they see as like a huge pro, I'm like, that's the problem. That's not like the solution. Yes, the media lies, but just because the media lies doesn't mean we change our values. And I'm going to do a whole video on this. It's going to be very unpopular because it's going to go against the grain. But I'm going to show you how like they trick us with this all the time. They did it last year with free speech. And they said, well, Ilhan Omar is such a bad lady. And you're like, yeah, for sure. And then they convince you to really go against the First Amendment just to own Ilhan Omar. It's like, own the libs by selling out the First Amendment. It's like, this is the two-party deception, folks. Conservatives clearly have a better understanding of freedom, liberty. It's no question. Liberals are masked, walking around, walking their dog without a mask, and they have a muzzle on. It's very odd. But, there's a lot to be desired on the right wing, I would say. And I think a lot of people are starting to realize that when this election happened and the amount of Republicans that just flopped, instead of doing their job, I think a lot of the GOP woke up to how BS Fox News became, the GOP not having Trump's back, and just in general, even him. I don't know, this Operation Warp Speed stuff. I'm like, bro, calm down. I'm not really a fan. But let's read some comments. That's my thoughts. Overall, this election is not over till it's over. They're gonna fight till the end. But my main concern is like, how are we gonna act in 2021? Because whether Trump wins or Biden wins, this path that we're on is not so sustainable. And I would love to get my freedom back. Obviously, we have a better chance of doing that under Trump, but not if people just sit there and watch what he does. Like, whether it's Trump or Biden, we need to be at his feet. So if Trump wins, we can't make no more theories and excuses. And Bill Barr is going to save me like Batman. Like, that's got to be done. It's got to be like, Trump, we like you, but listen, full open, 100% capacity, stand up to multinational corporations. It's going to be tricky, but we got to do it. That's my thoughts. Let me know yours. Let's see. All right, I'll try to get to some questions or comments. Let's see what. When and where is your next event? I'm in Southwest Pennsylvania. How could I get involved? Accountability. Well, I'm not the one running the events. The event I was at, if you guys saw my speech, I winged that. I didn't have any script or anything, and that was after a 4-hour debate. I just kind of made it up. But it wasn't my event. I think the curfew breakers were the ones who threw that event. They just asked me to speak, so I didn't organize it. I just kind of showed up and have been supporting it. Someone said, I'm having some lobsters with shrimp. I wish I could share that with you. Erica, now you're talking. I mean, listen, we could talk about politics or we could talk about some shrimp. I like that. Thank you. Do I think Trump will win? Said Tariq. I think so. I don't know. I just don't see him losing. Like, I can't envision and maybe it's my own mind, but I just can't envision a Joe Biden world. So I feel like Trump can pull this off. I don't know. Until he loses, until he's out, I just don't see it being over. And there are paths for him to win. Even CNN, to be honest, the best example or the best explanation of how Trump can win is CNN. Fareed, whatever his name is, he did a whole breakdown of like how Trump can constitutionally win still. So, I mean, yeah, I don't see him losing, but I don't know. I guess I'm just like shocked that so many people are like okay with what's going on, regardless of him being there. So I don't know. The Operation Warp Speed thing has been a real buzzkill for me. I log into Twitter and Trump's talking about Operation Warp Speed more than the lockdowns. It's like, bro, he's trying to convince Republicans that Operation Warp Speed is like landing on the moon. Like it's like this psyop, in my opinion, that's like, I've rushed these vaccines so fast and they're trying to make it sound like the moon landing, like Buzz Aldrin's in the back. It's like, I don't know who the target market is for this, but it's not me. So I'm not too pumped off that. So someone said Biden pees his pants. We'll have to fact check that, but there is a chance that that's true, but we got to look at the fact checkers for that one. Here's someone, Lewis said, where's the breaking point? When will people stop being apathetic? That's a fantastic question, Lewis. I don't know. When is the breaking point exactly? Danielle said, my boss said, if a vaccine allows us to be fully open, we have to take it to keep our jobs. And this is the part that really annoys me. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because I'm sure people are getting annoyed at it. But all year I tried to say this. Most people understood, but everyone said, Anomaly, you don't understand. Trump doesn't want to make it mandatory. And I'm like, guys, it doesn't matter. If he rushes the vaccine and hands it off to the next person or to the state, it doesn't matter what Trump wants to do. So now, people who follow my page and good people are going to be forced with the decision, either keep my job or get the vaccine, or vice versa, not keep my job, get fired. They're going to make it mandatory in states. They're going to make it mandatory at schools. And these multinational corporations like airlines, Trump has no control over them. So you get what I'm saying? This is why I feel like the messaging, it has to be, whether it's Trump or Biden, 100%, like my speech, you saw me in Huntington Beach. I was like 100% capacity, not 25%, not 50%. I'm not even impressed with Texas. Ted Cruz, wearing a mask. This doesn't impress me. I'm sorry. It's like Florida's open, but not the multinational corporations. What's going on with the country, folks? We need 100% opening. Like, we need to lay down the law. That's what I think. So you get what I'm saying? It's like, I don't care what they say. They've said a lot. He said he doesn't want to make it mandatory. He also said he was going to lock him up. They also said Bill Barr was going to do something. It's like, there's a lot of clickbait. How many people here clicked on articles, no offense, but from Dan Bongino and Daily Wire all year, or Gateway Pundit, clicking on articles being like, oh, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. You probably gave them millions of dollars in revenue of it's coming, and it never came. They're just getting clickbait articles. It's not Dan Bongino's fault. I think he's a patriot, but overall, it's like, how long are we just going to keep clicking on, like, ooh, you did Obamagate. It's like, yeah, they did do Obamagate, but no one held them accountable. Why would they ever stop? Why would they ever stop? It's like, oh, Eric Swalwell pooped his pants and worked with China. It's like, he might have pooped his pants and he might have worked with China, but like, the difference is no one cared. They're not afraid of you. It's like, oh, they tweeted an article about how, yeah, they've done a million things like that over the past 4 years, and not a single one of them's got held accountable. Roger Stone got held accountable. Manafort got held accountable. Flynn got held accountable. And virtually every Trump supporter who supported him in 2016 got wiped off social media. And then a bunch of Q people were like the biggest Trump fanatics. And now all of them have got wiped off social media. So after all this theorizing of how great Bill Barr is, all you have to show with it is a deactivated Twitter account. I'm not trying to be mean, but it's like, that's just what's happening. I can't like, I'm like, so I log into Twitter and I play the clown music. When I log into Twitter, I play a clown music on Spotify and it's like, I literally do that in the morning and it makes Twitter much funnier because then you just see all the conservatives and the liberals and I just hear clown world. I'm like, you're all talking. No one's doing anything. I'm over it. Someone said they patented GMO mosquitoes. It's nuts. They released a bunch of Bill Gates released a bunch of GMO mosquitoes in Florida. So it's like Florida's this free state. You're not free if Bill Gates is releasing GMO mosquitoes. Do you want him to do that? Of course not. But he did it anyway. It's like this country is, I'm not saying it's a joke. I love America, but I'm trying to rally the troops, folks. I'm not, and I say this stuff and people think I'm complaining. No, this is like halftime. We're in the locker room. I'm not just going to lay down and make up something. It's like, let's go, folks. 2021, not 25%, not 50%, 100% capacity. We're open. We're not closed and tweeting things. Like, I'm done with that. I can't, I don't have the time. Keith said, huge fan, bro. I'm another patriot conservative rapper. Keith Bridges on Spotify. I'd love to work with something. I believe in you. Well, thank you, Keith. You can email me a song. Thank you. Someone said Ted Cruz has been going after social media platforms for censorship. I guess. I mean, he hasn't gotten any results, but maybe. I mean, I just don't see the results. And I'm not, it's hard. It's easier said than done. I'm not blaming Ted Cruz for everything. I think he's trying to do things, but you get what I'm saying? Like, I'm the type, I look at it through a business perspective. When you're in a bit, and I think it's a good way to look at it. If you're in a business meeting, it's not what they say, it's what they do. What everybody loved about Trump was not that he said things, it's that he said things. He talked the biggest shit we've ever heard, and then he actually was doing things. Like, he's like, Kim Jong-un, you're a little boy, you're a fat boy. And everyone's like, oh my God, he's going to start a war. And I'm laughing hysterically. I'm like, yo, this guy's wild. And then he gets along with Kim Jong-un. It's like, it's not just the fat boy comments. Those are hilarious, but it's the fact that Trump did it. You get what I'm saying? That's what people loved about Trump. He talked all the shit and then he did nearly everything that he said he was going to do for the first 3 years. So I look at it like a business thing. Like, if you're in a meeting and they say, we're going to give you $100,000 and then they sign you off for $10,000, it doesn't matter what they said. It matters what they do. So I've seen Jim Jordan talk a lot and Ted Cruz talk a lot, but I've seen nothing. I've seen no progress at all with social media. It's only declined. I'm not blaming them, but this idea that, like, I'm not impressed by their mouth anymore. I've heard them say a lot of things and they've done like nothing. But, I'm like, okay, my Facebook page is still not fully back, but that's fine. I guess you guys are talking still, but whatever. Someone said, I heard the mosquitoes are also in Texas. It's a nightmare. These mosquito things are creepy. Can you talk about Alito turning down Pennsylvania appeal to SCOTUS? What do you make of this? This whole thing, like, my opinion doesn't matter. I know people come here to hear my opinion and hear me talk, but I'm humble enough to realize nothing I say will matter. Nothing I do will really matter unless I really have a plan. Just show me the Carfax, show me what happens. What's the Alito lawsuit, the Supreme Court? I'm telling you what I'm seeing, but it comes down to the wire. Will it happen? Will it not? I don't know. There's a lot of appeals. There's this one gets rejected. That one gets rejected. What really matters is what happens in the end. I think, I told you the two paths that I see to victory. One is if state legislatures go rogue and electors go rogue. And two is if they could bring it to the Supreme Court and fully do something about it. But I mean, it's a tricky path. Or he might just pull up, I'm not leaving. I don't know. Like from a Wolf of Wall Street, that clip that's going viral, like, I'm not leaving. Maybe he does that. I have no idea. But someone said Outcast Stankonia was fire. Agreed. What do I think about Texas suing the battleground states for election fraud? Well, that's what we just talked about. I mean, I think that's another path to victory, but I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know whether they're going to accept it or not. I think a lot of it's speculation. I'm just at the point of this, like, and I hate to sound mean, but I think people are starting to feel like me. I've heard so many things, Hillary Clinton's going to appear in court in October. Did that ever happen? I don't remember it. I get the law. There's a process to be had, but I'm looking for results. Like, I'm not going to run in circles all the time and just be like, I feel like everyone's running in circles and it's like nothing ever happens. So I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm not giving up. I'm just like, I'm not, it doesn't interest me anymore. I'm like, I've ran in circles for long enough, but you know, that's just my feeling. Do I think electorates should go rogue? I mean, if they have enough proof of fraud, and that's the thing. I guess I've said it before, but I think the best analogy, that's not really an analogy, but it's what's happening, is the Democrats don't play by the rules, okay? Democrats don't play by the rules. They lie. They do what they tell you not to do. They do this. They spy, and no one ever gets held accountable. So how do you beat someone that's not playing by the rules? Either you have two options. Either you don't play by the rules, or you play by the rules and you enforce the rules. The Republicans play by the rules, but they don't enforce the rules. There's thousands of ways that they could have held Democrats accountable, and they never did it. Even especially in the first 2 years, although Paul Ryan was a big reason, they had all three branches, folks. They had the House, they had the Congress, they had, was it House, Senate, presidency? So how are you going to play by the rules and never even play by the rules? So if you want to be honest, technically, it's within the rules to go rogue. It's not really rogue because it's constitutional in some weird way that if there's enough proof, the state legislatures make the decision. It's unprecedented. It's probably not ideal, but they can technically follow the rules and still win this election. But that's the problem with the Republicans. They follow the rules. The Democrats don't follow the rules, but they don't enforce the rules. It's like Democrats, it's like playing basketball, and Democrats are just carrying the ball. They're not even dribbling. There's like 20 people on the court. They're cheating every time. And then all the Republicans have the referee, and it's like, use the referee. If you're going to play by the rules, they don't enforce the rules. So how in the world are they ever going to win? It's almost like they're there to lose. Like they're just purposely losing, or they're just really fake or something. It reminds me of a circus. Like I literally play circus music when I log into Twitter, and everyone's like, "Ooh, Supreme Court, Texas, Florida," and it's like it all just sounds like a circus to me. I don't know, but all right, we'll read some more. Someone said, I'll answer this because someone asked this question on Instagram, and I promised if they came here that I would answer it. So I'm going to. Jessica said, why are so many conservatives against Israel? Well, I would say it's a mixed bag. I would say a lot of Republicans and conservatives are massively, massively pro-Israel. And I would say there's a growing faction that's more against Israel. The reasons are, and I'm actually going to cover this in my next video. It's going to be very unpopular, I'm sure, but I'm kind of excited. There's a few reasons. I think in America, a lot of conservatives want America to be the priority. America first. They want to have, America get held over other countries. And Israel has so much influence over both parties, and especially the Republican Party. A lot of the, pro-Israel Republicans tend to prioritize Israel over America. For example, Ron DeSantis is perhaps the best governor in the U.S. Even he passed an executive or some sort of order or bill that basically makes it illegal to criticize Israel. They're trying to, they're taking away the First Amendment for Israel. They give billions of dollars in financial aid every year to Israel, but then, they turn around and don't really have an answer for the American people. For instance, they passed a $10 million Holocaust bill during the shutdown, and the schools weren't even open. So it's like, it's one thing to pass a bill, a Holocaust bill. It's another thing to pass that bill when American schools are being shut down by communism and they're not even open. So you get what I'm saying? That's why a lot of conservatives, I think, are ticked off at Israel. I don't think it comes from a place of hate, although I'm not going to lie, there's a lot of hateful, bad attitude people. And, I think they need to put a smile on. But in general, I think that's the big divide in the Republican Party. Now you have the American first people, and then you have like the Kirk Shapiros and Pragers who have a huge blind spot for that. It's not just that they like Israel. They like Israel so much that they're willing to sacrifice almost anything American in order to, give them an upper hand. And I think a lot of people do not like that. So I think that's the short reason that there's becoming more of a divide. And I played a clip. I don't know if I'll play it again, but it was a clip of Jemele Hill. I played it on Instagram. Jemele Hill it was like her co-host was calling Jake Paul racist. Like she said, do you think it's racist to knock out a black guy because Jake Paul recently boxed Nate Robinson, a black NBA player, and he's white and he won the fight. He knocked him out. And she tried to say he was racist. You're a racist for knocking out a black guy. It's like, if you play sports with black people, you're just supposed to lose the game or else you're a racist. Like, that's what their logic. So the point I'm getting to is that type of mentality, it makes people hate you. So it's like millions of white kids are not racist. But if you become a disgusting, annoying black woman who calls you racist for winning a fight, then people aren't racist, but they become like, you know what? I just don't like you. It has nothing to do with your skin color, has everything to do with your actions and your attitude. So it's a bad strategy to try to make people like you. It's the same thing with the Israel stuff. Like, anytime I mention this, most people get it, but then some people are like, anomaly, you're starting to sound anti-Semitic. It's like, that only makes people like you less. Me, I'm not a hateful guy, so it doesn't really bother me, but a lot of people are getting fed up because anytime they ask a question or do anything normal, I could criticize America. No one would care. If I disagree with something Israel does, I'm an anti-Semite. So it's equivalent to like Jamel Hill and her friend calling everyone racist for just being white. It's like you do too much. You know, it's like when you do too much, you turn people against you. So you just got to dial it back a little bit. That's what I think. But, you know, God bless everybody. It's just that's just the truth. You're not going to hear that on very many conservative YouTube channels, because when they say that, they usually get deleted. So that's kind of the breakdown. How do I handle the lockdown and masks in California? That's a good question. I haven't worn a mask only on an airplane because I want to fly and see my family and they'll kick me off if I don't. But I only go to restaurants that don't do the mask mandate. If they make me wear one, I just leave. I fight with the owner sometime. I don't shop at places that make me wear a mask. And it sucks because I haven't got my hair cut in a long time. I want to get my hair cut, but I don't want to wear a mask. So when they're like, can you wear, I don't want to feel like a criminal everywhere I go. I walk in somewhere and people say, oh, they're yelling at me. I'm like, dude, I'm trying to give you my money. Can I give you my money? Or are you going to act like I'm, first of all, I'm a fit guy. I'm not the fittest person in the world. I'm not like a bodybuilder, but I'm pretty damn in shape. And it's like, I got these people coming up to me that are totally not in shape. Being like, you're the problem in this. I'm like, bro, if everyone did push-ups and jumping jacks in unison, we all took, you get what I'm saying? We all took like 5 minutes to do this every day. We'd save 100,000 lives a year. We could save more people than COVID. It's like, I don't tell you to drop down and give me 20, but you act like I'm a criminal for trying to give you my money for existing. So long story short, I don't go to stores that make me wear a mask. So what am I? My friend says I got crappy shoes. Like, you know, my friend's like, you need to buy some good shoes. I was like, I don't want to go to a shoe store. So I have crappy shoes because I don't feel like, he's like, you can't be going to these lockdown events looking like a bum. I'm like, I don't care because I don't want to go shopping when they treat me like, oh, put a mask on. No, then I won't buy your shoes. I hope you go out of business. It's like, leave me alone. So yeah, I've done very little shopping this year because I hate going out. It's not, I don't go in stores if they have a mask. So I don't really go anywhere. I order my groceries online. I go to places that don't harass me. And when they do, I curse them off usually and go somewhere else. It sucks. Actually, that felt good. Hold on. Let's do some here. We're going to stop COVID-19, folks. This is, if everyone did this, mandatory jumping jacks every day and mandatory jogging, this is all it takes 5 days a week. Fauci says, you know, a siren goes off, the Fauci siren, everyone does jumping jacks. We'd save hundreds of thousands of lives. But you know what that doesn't do, folks? It doesn't give money to big pharma. There's no money in being healthy. So they're just destroying your health, making you fatter, making you sicker, and then pumping tens of billions of dollars into the pharmacy industry. And then they're going to claim like they helped you. And I'll tell you what, folks, I'm going to do a video next week. I have like 10 videos in my head. I don't have time. But Trump and a lot of the government bought the vaccine doses in like July and August. So they spent tens of billions of dollars on vaccine companies. They bought the doses before they were ready. They bought doses before they were even tested. Do you think they're going to say no when they spent $10 billion on companies and they already purchased Trump bought Moderna vaccine doses in like August before they're even tested. So once you spend billions of dollars on a product that's not ready yet, do you think they have financial incentive to do that? Do you think they're going to say no? No, their Operation Warp Speed is a joke, folks. It's not the truth. It's not Space Force. Trump is lying. Pence is lying. Fauci's lying. They're all lying. All right. I feel better now. My thoughts on conspiracy theories. I mean, it's a rigged word. I think they've brainwashed people to think it's a bad thing, but a theory if you break down the word, sorry, I'm kind of tired now. Might have to call it a day. If you break down the word, theory is a theory. It's not for sure, but it's your idea of what's going on. A conspiracy is two or more. The original definition from the 1800s is two or more men doing something evil, conspiring to do something evil. So two or more men grouping together to do something evil. So it's a theory about people doing evil. And I say it's anti-poor because the media wants you to convince you only poor people can do bad things. Only poor people and Vladimir Putin and Trump. That's it. Those are the only people who can conspire. Trump's conspiring with Putin. But if you suggest Bill Gates is conspiring, you're a lunatic. If you say that Hillary's conspiring, you're a lunatic. So they're full of shit. Sorry, I'll just say it. Shit. Excuse me. Only poor people can commit crimes. Only middle-class people can commit crimes. Only Trump and Putin can commit crimes, but your friends can't. It's a rig. They're so fake. They're so fake. They're like, you can't say that rich people do bad things together unless it's Donald Trump. I don't understand why anyone believes them. It's like, I go to school, I wear a mask, I have a PhD, I'm so smart, I read NPR, I read Huffington Post, I'm a blogger, and I believe that it's a conspiracy theory to not wear a mask. And they're dressed like Bubble Boy. They're like, it's like, look at yourself in the mirror. You're insane. Okay, it's enough. Someone said it's not a theory anymore. That's why I started doing this in 2016. I used to hear all these things about these royal families and bloodlines and all this stuff. And then in 2016, it just became so obvious. I'm like, New York Times, Washington Post, Google, MSNBC, CNN, like it all. I'm like, it's not, I don't even have to play this game of like Illuminati. Who is it? I'm like, I know who it is because they're making it so obvious. They used to do their meetings behind closed doors. Now they stream it on YouTube, folks. It's a sick joke. It's like before they used to hide in the woods and do creepy stuff or be on Jekyll Island. Now they live stream Event 201 on YouTube. They planned out what they would do during a coronavirus pandemic in 2019 and posted it on YouTube, folks. It's like you don't even have to like hide through the bushes to find it. It's literally like right out there. But let's calm down. I need to catch my breath after all those, what was it? Jumping jacks. Yeah, Davos is right out in the open. All right, let's calm it down, folks. Calm down, okay? You can't be here doing jumping jacks with me because if you do jumping jacks, you're not going to want the high fructose corn syrup commercial. If you don't get the high fructose corn syrup commercial, you're not going to want the pill. And if you don't get the pill, you're not going to want the vaccine. So we can't have jumping jacks out here, folks. We need you to be sick. I mean healthy. We need you to be healthy by just sitting inside for 7 months as the government takes everything from you and then forces a vaccine into your arm. That's what's going to make you healthy, not taking care of yourself, keeping stress low. Fear. That's what they want. Fear. We're helping you with all this fear, even though you could just Google what are the negative health effects of fear and stress. And there's 10 things, cardiovascular problems. It's horrible for you, but they know that. These people are demons, folks. They're straight from hell, or they have a spirit inside them that's from hell. And I call them devils. That's why they leave me alone. People are like, do they bother you? No, they don't, because I call them devils. And then it's like pouring water on a witch. They just disappear. They don't want to mess with me. It's like debates. Multiple people have tried to debate me recently. You're not going to get the result you think you're going to get. This is not child hour, okay? This isn't the kid's playpen, okay? This isn't wall ball, 3rd grade on the park. Let's pick on anomaly. This is a real boy, folks. This is a real man here, okay? You're not going to get the result you want. It's like water on a witch. You know, you bounce back off me onto you. I'm melting. Yeah, we get it. Don't come with the devil energy, folks. You're not going to get the result. It's an upset. Someone said wall ball was a psyop. Wall ball was a little. No, you know what is a psyop? My buddy Patriot J, he said on Twitter, he said daylight savings time is the biggest psyop. Daylight savings time is a huge psyop. It gets dark at 5 o'clock. Psyop alert, folks. Someone said they can't fight with logic. Listen, you know me, I have a smile on my face. I have a coffee. Once I have the coffee, it's my flaw. People are like, Anomaly, I have many weaknesses, but coffee is one of them. But I go into having a good time. I'm like, listen, I'm gonna have a good time, a conversation. Maybe we'll debate a little bit. And people want to test me. They get and I'm like, it's not wall ball, folks. It's not third grade sitting on the side of the park. Mrs. June comes out and says, guys, recess is over. Come inside. That's not what it's about. This is a real boy arena here. So I don't know why people think they want to try me, because I'm going in to have a good time. Like, we're going to get along. We're going to have a lot in common. We're going to help the people together. We're going to unite. And then people want to come at me. But it's like, listen, you see, like, I'll do a full spin move dunk, 11-0, game over. And I wasn't even trying to play. But it's like, once you start, I'm going to finish. So I don't understand why people think this is like third grade, playpen, Foursquare. Okay. They want to play Foursquare. I got all the squares covered. So it's a wild time. I'm like, don't try. I don't understand what you thought this was going to be. Someone said, you're too much. LOL, calm down. I don't want to calm down. That's why I got a standing desk so I could do jumping jacks. I bought this desk. I invested my money instead of buying Jordans. I could have been like, I got the new Jordans for $800. I've been wearing the same sneakers for 3 years. I have shoes that I bought in CVS for $5 that I wear as house slippers. Okay. I invested my money in a stand-up desk so I could do jumping jacks. I don't want to calm down. They want me to calm down. That's what they told Trump. They said, Trump, you have COVID. Just lay there. Just lay there and just act. You know what Trump said? He said, I don't do that. Trump's a maniac. He's like, I don't sleep. I sleep 4 hours a day. I don't calm down. They said, lay down. He said, I'm going to get up. I feel fine. He got better in 3 days because he's like a maniac in a good way. It's like, no, they're just lay down and die. Have no energy. It's like, how about no? How about I stand up and do jumping jacks in the live stream and I don't calm down? That's why I don't get sick. That's what Trump's like. I feel better already. They're like, well, you didn't even have the medicine. He's like, I don't need it. I'm an absolute madman. I sleep 3 hours. I don't work out. He says he doesn't work out. He's like, I'm too busy just doing things. That's my workout. It's like, the guy's a maniac and he beats COVID. That's how you beat it. You don't calm down. Someone said they don't want you to get sun. Yeah, you got to get some sunlight. Not too much, but just enough. Patrick said, Coke is a hell of a drug. I don't do cocaine. This is pure coffee bean, folks. This is coffee, water. This is real. This is not drug induced. This is called do some jumping jacks and you'll feel good. Do we want to do jumping jacks together? Do people want to get a workout? You sit at Fox News and they just yell at you. Like, no offense, I like Judge Jeanine, but she's just screaming at you. She reminds me of my aunt, or like my Italian friend's aunt. She's like, on the deep stand. You're like, oh my, and then you just sit there. And then in the commercial, they're like, pill. And then you come on and they're just screaming at you on Fox. And then you turn on CNN, they're screaming at you. We're doing jumping jacks here, folks. I don't got no pharmacy pill, money. It's strictly Patreon, okay, folks? That's all I got. I'm off the Patreon money. They take my money off Facebook. I find a new platform. I write a book. This is what we're on, folks. We're not just scaring people into complacency. Do some push-ups if you want. Do some jumping jacks. Don't calm down. They want you to calm down. Just calm down, put a muzzle on, and sit there. That's me with my mask. No. Hold on. I just cleaned my place. Now I'm making a mess again. Someone said Wim Hof is a legend. Yeah, that guy's awesome. The Iceman. Someone said, I love coffee. The darker, the better. Yeah, I don't know what type of roast this is, but it is what it is. Someone said, real free energy. It's not drug induced. I'm not on drugs. Do some pull-ups. LOL. I feel wired after a good workout. It's better than Coke and it's free. It's true. That's why they close down beaches and they close down gyms. This is a crime against humanity. Where's the Supreme Court? Lock them up. Lock them up, folks. If I go around, listen, I'm not trying to be mean. If I was governor and I'm like, lock all the gyms, I should go to jail. It's like, what is that? What is that? Just shut down all the health facilities and make sure everybody's more unhealthy. Crime against humanity. Where's Amy Conan O'Brien, Coney Island Barrett? Where is she? Where's Brett? I didn't do it in 1965 Kavanaugh. Where's Clarence? Joe Biden tried to abuse me and call me a sexual predator. Thomas. Where's whatever Alito has done in his life? Where are these people? This is a crime against humanity, folks. I don't want to hear about Operation Warp Speed. Oh, there's crimes against humanity going over against half the population, but I'm rushing vaccines. I'm so special. I'm not buying it, Trump. I'm sorry. I like Trump, but I'm not buying it, boy and girls. Someone said, Jesus will avenge all of this. I felt better. You saw I was in a bad mood for a week. I felt better because I read scripture and I just realized, I was like, you know what? The world is wicked. And, people are meant to be saved, but at a certain point, we can save the country, but the world is the world is wicked, and people who become of the world become wicked. So I get it. I'm like, listen, I'll do what I can, but I'm gonna stay away from these demons. And if they want to make everything hell, I'm not getting dragged into their hell. I'm gonna sidestep that. What's your coffee brand? I don't know. I think it's like a Colombian brand, but I just found it online and I found that it's pretty good. So I just stuck with it. I can't think of the name. I'm not that much of a hipster. Someone said new hats. I apologize. Trust me, it's not helping me any either, but these hats are out of stock until 2021. So you can see they're made in the USA, good quality hats. I'm teasing because I can't sell them, but in 2021, when they're back in stock, I'll let you guys know and I'll blast it out to everybody. But for now, this should be my biggest month, but it's not. It's my shortest month because I'm barely. You've noticed I haven't even sold anything recently because I'm just annoyed. I'm like, get the hats in stock, regroup. 2021, we'll get back at it. I still have shirts on my website, but I want to sell these hats. I like these hats. Game streamers, e-girls, get your simp money, but the man is fighting for your rights, gets no love. Do your thing, YouTubers show love. P.S. Death rate unchanged. That was a lot of things with no period, but I hear you. Someone said Don Francisco coffee is good. Yeah, I'm not that good at. I got one brand and I stick with it. It's like shoes. I get a pair of shoes and I stick with it. All right, everybody's telling me their coffees. I'm reading. I'm taking notes. This is a good question. I actually got called anti-Semitic for saying what I'm about to say, which is I'm not, obviously. But someone said, "What do you think the former head of Israeli space agency saying aliens are real?" I don't believe him. I don't believe him at all. But I said that on Instagram, and someone's like, "You're sounding like an anti-Semite." I'm like, this is why people are getting more annoyed because I don't even agree with NASA or Elon Musk half the time. And I have to just worship and I agree with Israel's space chief. No, I don't buy it. I'm sorry. I don't buy that story. I feel like it's a fake story. But I say that and they're like, that sounds really anti-Semitic. I disagree with Trump. I'm not anti-America. I disagree with the Democratic Party. I disagree with the Israeli space chief. And someone calls me an anti-Semite. It's like, this is why people are getting more annoyed. It's like Jamel Hill calling everyone racist. Like, no one's racist, but at a certain point, you call someone racist 100 times, they're going to be like, yeah, I don't like you. And then you're like, oh, geez. I don't know why she sounds like Mr. Hat or whatever that guy is from South Park. He's like, oh, geez. Oh, you hate me. You must hate all my people. It's like, no, just you and anybody who acts like you. So if more people act like you, then yeah, we don't like you. But it's not because we don't like your skin color. It's because you're annoying and you constantly just call everyone names for just not liking you. It's like, yeah, I don't buy the alien story at all. I think it's a total lie. But what do I know? I'm not an alien expert, but I don't buy it. It reminds me of like NASA. NASA's like, oh, we're going to send people to Mars in 2029 with women. Like, I'm not the target audience who's like, whoa, we haven't been since 1969, but we're definitely going now because they're sending women. It's like, you haven't done anything in like 40 years and you're trying to convince me like, ooh, the women are, and then they're like, we had to delay. Like the stories it's like parody. It's like Babylon Bee. They're like, we had to delay because we didn't have the right suits for the women. So you just figured out like months after announcing it that you didn't have the right suits. You're like, oh, the women don't fit into Buzz Aldrin's suits. It's like, you didn't know that 4 months ago. To me, it reads like Babylon Bee. So I don't believe I don't believe the Israeli space chief at all. But if you do, that's fine. I don't care. Someone said, Danny said, my tweet you retweeted is blowing up about my boss making me get the stabby. Well, I like to retweet and share the love. Whenever someone shares like a good experience like that, Danny, I got you. So you're a superstar now. It was a good tweet. And it's true. Hopefully it's true. Can we speak of the sharks attacking the internet for the last 4 years? I have no idea what you're talking about. Are you talking about literal sharks? I haven't heard of that. That sounds kind of scary. Andrew said, you're the only bright spot on YouTube besides Ron Paul. I take that as a high compliment. Thank you. Someone said the moon. Listen, don't get me involved with the moon and the space stuff. Listen, let's not go there. I'm gonna say, but I mean, I can go there if you guys want. I ended up on a page, like I ended up on a huge page because I went off on a tangent about that, and like someone took it and put it on their channel. It's pretty funny, but all right. Someone said, Anomaly, you should watch Ryan Long's new video, Rehabilitation for Vice Bloggers. It's hilarious and so true. Oh, I've seen it. Ryan Long is really funny. That video is really funny. I watch all his videos. I follow him on Twitter and YouTube. I love Ryan Long. He's really funny. He crushes. Him and his friend Danny. It's good comedy for sure. I show my friend that all the time. Yeah, Mr. Gaza, you saw that exactly. Someone said, do it. I love the space stuff. I mean, we'll see. Monica said, just got yelled at for not wearing a mask in the street of New York City. Tired of fights over this crap. You should make a Mask Sheep t-shirt. Yeah, it's very annoying. I got yelled at outdoors. I've literally cursed people off, and I don't like to curse people off, but it's like, just leave me alone. Literally, like this is so demoralizing. I've barely even got to have conversations with people this year because the whole world got shut down. And then when you are in person, you can't see half their face. So it's like being in a slave. Like, it's so funny too. Conservatives complain about Islam for so long, and it's literally they got everybody in hijabs and stuff. But anyway, it's like you can't even see their face. And then when you go out and you're like, hey, like you're like 50 feet away. You're like, hey, do you mind if I get? And they're like, hey, you get the Wi-Fi. It's like, and then I just say, F you. Whoever's above me is doing some construction or something. Let's see. Someone said I purchased a full burqa today on Amazon. Okay. Everyone settle down. Aliens are part of 2020. I'm not buying it. I don't buy it. I'm not a big alien guy. I was when I was younger, but to me, it just seems like monolith alien. And everyone's like, ooh, it's like, no, give me our freedom back. Okay. If the aliens can't do it, we're going to do it. Salty Army Okay. I don't know what that means, but what's up? Thank you for the $2 super chat. All right, let me read this one on Facebook. We got to give both sides attention. Donna said, I have a question. If they're threatening to take away Section 230 so internet can be sued for sharing false info, then why hasn't the MSM be sued for all the lies they put out? No mention to censoring. Well, it's a good question. I think, what was his name? Nick Sandmann. He sued, I think, CNN and Washington Post. He successfully sued. Nick Sandmann did. So you can sue in some ways. But with Section 230, what I'm finding out, because the head of Parler, he says that Section 230, if Trump got rid of it, it would destroy him. Here's what I'm realizing. We need it to be reformed, I believe, because basically, say Trump gets rid of Section 230. Now Facebook has more incentive to kick you off, because if you do something on their website, I believe now they can get sued. So it's going to probably lead to more censorship, because now they're going to be like, well, we got to get rid of everybody who says everything. But they've already done that. So I don't understand. Like, they're already doing it. Really what needs to happen, I think they need to enforce the law, or rewrite it to the point where they can enforce it. So I think Section 230, it's like a nuclear option where it's like, just screw it. But I believe it could possibly backfire, because now they have more incentive to kick you off. I don't fully understand it, but yeah, they're like maybe like an internet bill of rights or something. But at this point, it's like, it's very hard to see how it could possibly be much worse. I mean, Facebook, I believe if I got a good lawyer, nobody wants to work with me, it's fine. I think I have the best case against Facebook, better than anyone else, because I have proof that they lied about what I said. They libeled me. They made up a false claim that I said something I never claimed and tried to flag me for CDC content and CDC stats by saying that the CDC doesn't agree with the CDC. They messed up so bad with my censorship because I was so big on Facebook and so independent, and they're so desperate to censor me that they made 5 different mistakes. It's not like, oh, anomaly said hate speech. You can't really define that. They lied about every single strike that they gave me and made a false statement. I should be able to win easily, but none of these lawyers want to help me. They take worse cases. I have the best case against Facebook by far. It's not even close, but they don't, oh, well, I don't want to work with, it's not a competition, but it's like my page was bigger than almost every page on Facebook. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying they started publishing data of the top 10 pages of the week. Mine was on it. It was ahead of every news station on the planet. So they saw me. I don't have a big team. So they asked me fake. So I would love if an actual lawyer got to me, because I don't think what they did to me holds up in court, but I'll never find out because no one wants to take the case. But we'll see. Someone said no one wants to represent you. I mean, I looked around, but at a certain point, I'm hitting up they're like, I'm doing this one. I have the, and I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I have the best case because they messed up so hard with mine. Other people, your hate speech, you lied. I'm so careful with what I do that they couldn't, like, some people are just reckless. Like conservatives, they make mistakes. I'm not saying I don't make mistakes, but they screwed up so bad with my censorship. I swear I could win easily, but I can't force a lawyer to take my case. So it's whatever. It's whatever. We'll just chalk it up as an L and we'll keep it moving. Someone said, talk to Candace Owens. She sued and won. Yeah, I talked to her and she gave me the name of her lawyer. I reached out and he just didn't really answer me. He didn't seem interested, but it's fine. Try to contact Robert Barnes. I've contacted Robert Barnes 5 times. They don't answer me. It's fine. Nobody wants to work with Anomaly. I get it. I'm the kid in the corner. I'll just go cry and order some food for dinner or something. It's fine. No, I've hit up Robert Barnes. He never answers me. I've hit him up like 4 times. It's fine. Jaspow said, unite for freedom worldwide. Our Canadian government openly admitted if you don't get the vaccine, you'll face restrictions. Yeah, it's creepy. Someone said, be your own lawyer. I probably should have done that in college or something, but someone said lawyers are Democrats. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them. Well, here's my call. Instead of crying about it, I'll just say, and then we'll move on because it's kind of boring, but any free speech lawyer, any First Amendment lawyer, I have the best case. Literally, like, I'll explain it real quick and then we'll move on. I don't want to bore people. They libeled me. It's not even like you said hate speech. You made a mistake. It's like they said I said something I never said. They flagged it with AI or something, said I said something I never said, flagged a CDC article from NBC News. And they said, the CDC doesn't agree with this, even though the article was quoting the CDC. They screwed up so bad with me, worse than Candace, worse than any of these people. I could win easily. They messed up so bad. And I have screenshots for everything. They just know that I'm not as big of I'm not a big shot. So they probably were like, oh, he won't do anything about it. So we'll figure it out. But if you're a free speech lawyer, hit me up, email me, contact me. We'll get it cracking. If not, I'll cry about it for 10 more seconds, then we'll move on. No, they don't owe me money. They don't owe me money. They just censored my page falsely. It's all good. Someone said Lynn Wood loves these cases. Nobody wants to talk to me, though. They're busy doing other cases. I don't know. Lynn Wood's busy. You know, he's busy. He's doing like 5 other things. It's all good. Let's move on. I'm just saying, anybody can email me. I don't want to, this is boring. If I was watching this, I'd be like, all right, Anomaly, shut up, move on. So we'll move on. Just email me if you have a lawyer. If not, it's all good. We get it. What are my thoughts on child trafficking? It's horrible. I mean, it's a terrible thing that's happening. All right, we'll hang out for like 30, 40 more minutes. And then I have a new presentation. I hope you guys watch it tomorrow. It's going to be about the Tucker Carlson piece about the China, but I'm adding some stuff to it. And it's probably going to be unpopular, but I'm going to try to fully explain what I'm saying because I just can't. I don't have fun doing what everyone else is doing. I feel like it's played out. And it's not like a thing where I'm like, oh, I have to go against the grain to be trendy. I just feel like there's so many stories people aren't breaking. So I'm going to try to do a very unique story for tomorrow, and hopefully you guys watch it and enjoy it. Do I celebrate Christmas? Yes, I do. Someone said final verdict on the Trump Q connection. Honestly, this, and I've said this for years, but if you really want my full opinion, because I've said, I've played both sides, but to be honest, I've pretty much said this since like 2018. I think Q is somebody who really likes Trump, who got a lot of power because everybody started following him. I don't think it's a secret military intel. I don't think it's anybody special. I think it's somebody who really likes Trump, but I also think over the years, there's pros and cons. It's like with Trump, there's a lot of people who are woken up to a lot of things, but then it's like he woke everyone up and put everyone right back to sleep. He gave everyone, things about trial trafficking and then told everyone to wait for Bill Barr in Durham, which was a terrible advice. It's like, wait for the government to save you. So it's like there's pros and cons, but I never really believed that it was a secret government agent. It just doesn't make sense. It's like, why? If it's so secret, why would they tell you? Why would they tell you for 3 years and tell everybody else other stuff? And disinfo is necessary, so but they don't know. To me, it was always like a mind scramble. They give you a lot of truth like WikiLeaks, and then they subvert you into just waiting for Bill Barr and Durham. So I was never really a fan. I said there were some pros, some cons. I think a lot of people got woken up and then they got put back to sleep. So overall, yeah, I think it's just somebody who really likes Trump, who's smart and does research and got way too much power. But, someone said if Q is fake, Trump is fake. But this is also the problem. It's like you're valuing a letter on a message board over the president. Like if you like Trump, you like Trump. If you trust Trump, you trust Trump. But you're like, if Q is fake, Trump is fake. So you've superseded your love for Trump, who's the main part of the theory, for the thing that the guy posts on a message board. Like the whole thing to me just screams like psyop. It's like whether it's somebody just having fun, someone who likes Trump and meant to do the right thing, an intel person. I can't tell you who, but I personally I've never been really fully interested in it. But at a certain point, it seemed like there were more pros than cons. And then at a certain point, it seems like now there's more cons than pros. But, nobody's forcing you to feel a certain way. So I've pretty much been nice about it the whole time. I'm like, not for me, but whatever. Miss Brown said, I would really appreciate your advice for those of us who are forced to enforce the mask requirements on customers in order to keep our jobs. Yeah, well, I don't want to I feel bad because I don't want to give people advice. Like I don't have to do that. So I could say whatever I want, but it's not my position. That's not my job. So I don't have to do it. But that's the creepy part about what's going on. Everybody has to make sacrifices. If you don't wear a mask, you don't fly on a plane. If you don't enforce it, you don't keep your job. It's creepy, but that's like a personal thing. Whenever, your morals and values supersede, that it's one thing, but also, if I could relate it to something in my life, there've been companies and stuff that I really didn't like. And, I always tried to save up enough money before I left because I didn't want to be homeless or anything. But at a certain point, if I didn't like the job, I told myself, well, I'm not going to stay here for 5 years, but if I could save up money and then transition to a new job, that's what I always tried to do. But I feel bad giving people advice because I'm not really like I'm not like a model citizen. I can't say what I would or wouldn't do because I don't have to do it. So if you need to feed your family and stuff, I understand. But yeah, I don't know that I don't know what I would do in that position. Someone said everyone on the task force has Gates connections. This year was not good. The task force, Operation Warp Speed, it's big pharma swallowed up the country. In my opinion, Trump completely capitulated to big pharma. I gave him the option to really impress me, but it really hasn't happened. I'm not going to lie. I'm not impressed with what he's done this year. After the election, people said, well, after the election, he'll have more freedom. He's done nothing but disappointed me after the election. So I gave him that chance where I'm like, listen, I'll let him win, or I'll try to get him to win. And, then after the election, and he just hasn't done it. So yeah, I mean, basically Big Pharma swallowed up the Trump administration, and he's not only not done anything to fight it, he's like their biggest cheerleader. It's like they convinced him to stop fighting for America and start fighting for like Moderna. So it's like they've taken the American Trump and put him as like a spokesperson for Moderna. That's why with the election, like, yes, he could win. I think he could still win, but I don't care as much as other people, because it's like, and I'm not trying to turn on him or anything, but this year, when I needed him the most was in April, June, July. Like what Newsom was doing, what Murphy was doing, what Cuomo was doing, what Whitmer was doing was evil. And he called out Whitmer a few times, but for the most part, he capitulated to them. He not only didn't fight them, he gave them funding, he gave them all this stuff. So when I needed him for my own freedom, he wasn't really there for me. You know, I mean, he was on TV not wearing a mask. I'm being forced to wear a mask. What I had to live didn't affect him, and he didn't seem to care about it. And now, after the election, I don't see him fighting for my freedom at all. I see him fighting for Moderna and Bill Gates and Big Pharma more than he's fighting for my freedom. So I can only care so much. Am I turning on him? Do I hate him? Do I think Biden will be better? No, but am I going to make my whole life dedicated to somebody that's selling me out to Big Pharma? No, I'm not. I got bigger fish to fry. I'm an American citizen. I'm a patriot. I'm a constitutional believer more than I am a Trump supporter. And he's disappointed me. So it's like, he has no pressure to do any of this stuff because nobody cares. All his supporters are running in circles like they have been for the last 3 years. And I'm not into it. Someone said, you lost me. That's fine. I don't really care. I mean, that's, if you want to know how I feel, that's how I feel. And I would expect people to feel the same way. You know, it is what it is. But Paul Levada said a lot of other people forget about the second commandment when it comes to Trump or any entertainer. 2020 is the year of clear vision. Get healthy. Well, God bless you, Paul. I mean, I don't want to have this debate on loop. I've already made a few videos on it, but someone said, I'm just going to read the comments. Trump isn't advocating for the ubiquitous vaccinations. He's leaving it up to the people. That's what we want. You're wrong, though. He not only didn't stop them, he rushed them. He funded them. He gave them $10 billion. He gave a fancy name to giving all this money to them. He didn't fire Fauci. He's employing all sorts of people with Gates connection. He did nothing to fight Big Pharma. He rushed them through safety trials. He bought them in August and July before they were even done. So there's so much financial incentive. We're never going to get away with them. And then when it comes to shove, corporations and states and cities are going to enforce it just like they would under Biden. So only in your head is Trump fighting them. He's done nothing to fight them. He's not leaving it up to people. He's rushing it out to people, and it's going to be used against us because he does nothing to stop it. He's only funded the big medical complex. He didn't stop them. He didn't stand up to them. He yelled at people like Thomas Massey when they did stand up against the big medicine complex. He criticized Sweden for having too much freedom. He criticized Brazil for having too much freedom. He doubled down on his lockdowns and said they saved millions of people. He's done virtually nothing to help America in this lockdown. He's done more to help Bill Gates and Moderna and Big Pharma. So only in your head is it going to be optional. It's going to be optional if you live in the right area and don't have to work. But if you're like millions of Americans who supported Trump and you work at a certain company, or you work in healthcare, or you're in military, or you do one of 50,000 things, it isn't going to be optional. So the fact that he said it's going to be optional is about as meaningful as him saying lock them up. He never locked them up, and it's not going to be optional for most people. So you don't fight Big Pharma by funding them. And now they have so much more money. Look at all their stocks. They were on the decline. Now they're on the incline. They have more power. They have more money. They've completely taken control of the U.S. government, and he has no plan to stop them. So there is no plan. It's only in your head. And the only reason they get away with this is because people allow them. You know, George Bush is in office. So then all the Republicans follow suit. And then George Bush sheep herds conservatives into another war. And then Obama's in office and he starts 7 wars. And no liberals care because it's Obama. Well, Obama can fight Libya and Syria because it's Obama. And then they bring in Trump and he does a lot of good things. And this year he completely lets America down and no one cares because they like him more than they like the country or the First Amendment or the Second Amendment or the Constitution. And here we are in a complete communist state where he has no plan. He's only helped them and nobody wants to admit it. So this is the plan. I don't think Trump is in on it. I think he's a nice guy. I think they bamboozled him this year. And instead of doubling down on freedom, he doubled down on, I'm the vaccine guy. I rushed the vaccine. I got it faster than Biden. That's the game he's playing. It's not, I'm going to get our freedom back quickly. That's just the truth. That's what's happening. That's what's happened all year. There is no plan to save us. So it's up to us. Someone said, F you anomaly. That's fine. I don't care. All right, Dutch Slayer, you said it 5 times. That's fine. Someone said lockdowns are not optional. They weren't optional in all 50 states. Multinational corporations are still controlled in Texas. They're still doing this in all the airlines, and they're still doing this in multiple schools. And the fact that he says it's going to be mandatory doesn't matter. I don't understand. I don't want to talk about it because it's annoying, but it's shocking how quickly people's morals go out the window because President Trump didn't do what they thought he was going to do. Someone said it's his job to expose them. He didn't. I mean, yeah, you expose Big Pharma by giving them money. If that's the case, Hillary could have exposed Big Pharma. Look, Hillary gave $10 billion she exposed Big Pharma by putting them in power. He didn't expose them. He put them in power. You expose somebody by showing their crimes and holding them accountable. You don't expose somebody by showing their crimes, not holding them accountable, and rewarding them. He rewards them. Nobody's got held accountable. They've just gotten more money, more power, more control, more funding, and more rushing through FDA trials. So only in your head is he exposing them. And it's embarrassing because it's like at a certain point, you don't have to blame him for everything, but it's like, okay, this isn't happening. Let's do something about it. But this is part of the trap is everyone's like, it's not even happening because he's exposing Fauci. No, Fauci still works with the Pence administration. He's employing Fauci. He's giving Fauci's friends money and doing nothing to stop them. That's just what's happening. It's not like, oh, if Obama was here, something would have been different. No, probably not. He would have been just the same, if not worse. Biden's almost definitely going to be worse. But at least with Biden, people will pay attention. The fact that people want to fight me on this all the time, it makes me think they'll probably give you 4 more years to Trump because then you won't Operation Warp Speed. You'll treat it like Space Force and you won't care about your country. There's no way people would have put up with this under a Democrat president, but he's got people under a spell. It's not to blame him for everything, but it's like if you don't even admit that it exists, you're like hallucinating. You're like, he's exposing the elites. Barr did nothing. Durham did nothing. Hillary didn't get locked up. You got locked up and you got locked up. We got locked up. He funded Big Pharma. He gave Fauci's friends all sorts of money. No one got held accountable for anything they did. They just got more money and more power. Why would they exposing? Yeah, I can expose you by giving you $1 million and putting you on television. That's not exposing. That's giving power. I don't want to. This conversation annoys me because it's a circular conversation. It shows me the 2-party deception, and it shows me that people are not ready to stand up for their country. So, someone said Anomaly can't stand being made fun of. It's cute. That's not true at all. I mean, I'm actually a good sport when people make fun of me. I didn't even see anyone make fun of me, but I just get annoyed when people don't like their freedom. As far as making fun of me, I find it kind of humorous. Someone said, I'm not angry. It's just disappointing, but whatever. Someone said, you're right. We got locked up. The truth hurts, folks. The truth hurts. It's just what's happening. Someone said it's a one-sided conversation, bro. I've had full-on debates about this with people, but it is what it is. All right, I'm gonna read this from Facebook. Jeremy said Trump had 4 years to lock up the corrupt left. He called them out on their corruption, but did nothing to stop them. Yeah, he exposed them, but he didn't hold them accountable. We must stand united as Americans and freedom and demand that these people are held to account. I think that's true. And this is the point I'm making, Jeremy. He exposed them, but nobody got held accountable. And it never stops if they've gotten rewarded. No one's been held accountable. They've only gotten more money and more power. So that is the answer. It's not to say Trump is this bad guy. It's just to say it didn't happen. It's like the left hallucinates things. They're like, Obama never bombed people in Libya. It's like only in your head because you like Obama. It's the same thing with Trump. It's like no one got held accountable. Why was QAnon the biggest theory under the world? Because they fed him truths about human trafficking and then combined it with this hopium story of like he's secretly holding him accountable. Why was that so popular? Because everybody wants Trump to hold people accountable. So when it's not happening, the only way to make it happen is to hallucinate a fake story in your head in order to justify what you want to happen. It's actually very selfish. It's the same with this year. There's a million things I wanted to happen, but it's not all about me. And they didn't happen. So at a certain point, we have to like come to grips with it. You could say, I love Trump, but it didn't happen. That's all I'm asking for. It's like, yes, he didn't hold anyone accountable. But the reason nothing gets done is because 90% of his audience says, well, he secretly did it. He exposed them. It's like, why would they ever hold anyone accountable when their base thinks it's acceptable to not hold everyone accountable because they think it's secretly happening in their head? Why would they ever? Barr didn't do anything. Durham didn't do anything because they were superstars. You think they don't have an internet connection? Barr was probably laughing hysterically. He's like, dude, these QAnoners think I'm Jesus Christ. They literally made this stupid theory where I'm Batman. I'm coming to save the day with Durham, who doesn't even have video footage. So they have no incentive to do anything, not because of Trump, because of you, because of us, because of me. Because everybody's like, oh man, they're saving my life. And they're like, dude, we don't even have to do anything for these people. We can lock down the country and they'll make up a theory that we're like saving the world. They have no incentive to do so. So it comes down to Trump supporters holding Trump accountable, holding this. No one held this administration accountable because everybody thought it was going to happen and it didn't happen and it's not happening. So either we come to grips with it and we make it happen, or we spend the rest of the next 8 years just making up theories of how Trump exposed Fauci when he really just gave him money. Fauci got more powerful, more wealthy, probably his buddies in Big Pharma got more power, more control. If you call that exposing, I mean, it's like, yeah, I guess he exposed them, but no one got held accountable. So you get what I'm saying? It's not his fault. It's our fault. It's his supporters' fault. Someone said no one can get held accountable when the DOJ is corrupt. But here's what I'm saying, and here's the point I'm making. Then we can maybe move on. The biggest theory in Trump world over the last 3 years was the DOJ isn't corrupt. So they brainwashed Trump supporters into being like, QAnon said that the DOJ is not corrupt. Bill Barr is going to save us because the government's going to save us. So it's like, why would they ever not be corrupt when millions of patriots think that they're already not corrupt? Instead of coming to grips with like, yeah, it's corrupt, it's not doing anything. It's like, they are doing stuff, so let's just cheer them on. I'm a big Bill Barr supporter. Let me get a Lakers jersey with Bill Barr's name on it. It's like, why would Bill Barr not be corrupt when everybody thinks he's Superman and Batman and he's not doing anything? You literally, like, you've been congratulating these people for 3 years for doing nothing. Like, Bill Barr had a bigger fan base than LeBron James for literally doing nothing because someone on a message board told you human trafficking is real and Bill Barr is going to be the one that saves you. I mean, it screams psyop to me. It's like human trafficking is real, child trafficking is real, but that doesn't mean that Bill Barr is going to save you. But that's what people believe. That's all I'm saying. It's like, it's not. I'm not blaming people, but it's like, yeah, there's a huge gaping problem when I say, hey, it didn't happen, and we can't even meet. Okay, it didn't happen. How do we make it happen? It's like, no, you don't understand. It secretly is going to happen soon. What do you think about the Kraken? It's like, yeah, they're going to try to win the election, but that's 1/50th of the way of actually getting something done. You know, it's like, it's not to say it's over. I'm not giving up, but it's like, Anomaly, you don't have hope. You don't have hope, Anomaly, if you don't believe that Bill Barr is Batman. Who gave you a monopoly on hope? You saw me doing jumping jacks. We got a lot of hope here, folks, but my hope doesn't rely on trusting the Department of Justice. It's like, I'm the only one who hopes. I hope because I believe Bill Barr, and if Anomaly doesn't, he's working with Mossad and he does no hope. It's like, hope is not the same as believing a message board that the Department of Justice is going to save you. And then 4 years into believing that and sheep herding millions of people into believing that, you realize that they didn't do anything. And every theory of trusting Barr and Sessions and Durham was totally wrong. That's not hope. That's like brainwash. It's nice if you believe in it, but then you're going to be disappointed because you're building your hope on a false idol. It's like, if you trust the Lord, if you trust yourself, if you're not shocked by people deceiving you, then it's fine. But if you build up your hope in Bill Barr and then he doesn't do anything, you're going to be broken in 3 years and you're going to be crying and be like, what happened? It's like, that's not hope. That's like delusion. It's like being in a desert and just hallucinating water because you're thirsty, but it's not really there. That, to me, that's not ideal. But, I'm not trying to be mean, but I've heard this story for 3 years. I've had debates with Praying Medic and Jordan Sather, and I've said the same thing for 3 years. There's some pros, there's some cons. This is real, but I find it shocking that you guys made up this theory about the government saving you and martial law and shutdowns. I find that very strange. I've said this in 2018, 2019, 2020. I always give out compliments. I'm like, yeah, we agree about this. Obviously, that's bad. Julian Assange showed that, but I'm not sure about cheering on lockdowns. I think that's a little weird. And that's where we're at, folks. It's like, That's all it is. It's like, it's all love, but we can't hallucinate that these things are happening. It didn't happen. It just didn't, And with the big pharma thing, I understand that Trump has a lot of things going on, but one thing that I don't understand is that people will be like, he's exposing Fauci. He's not doing that. Like, no, he definitely did that. But it's not to blame him for everything. But if we can't even come to some sort of conclusion about what's happening in reality, then we're screwed. It's like a liberal. You know how confused liberals are right now? Because everything they have is based in not reality. Nothing means anything to them. Gender, this, that. They're so confused because all of their political and social beliefs are the opposite of a reality. So if you tell the truth to a liberal, they freak out at you because the truth is a threat to their illusion. And everything that they're built on is unhealthy. So they're getting mentally unhealthy. I mean, people talked about Pete Davidson the other day. I feel bad for Pete Davidson. He's like a vehicle for the devil. I joked and I said he gets a tattoo every time he's depressed. He's got a Hillary Clinton tattoo. He's got a Ariana Grande tattoo. He's like a funny kid that the devil is using, and they're just propping him up, just making him do things. The dude's probably hates himself. I feel bad for him. So that's like liberal. If you build something in not reality, you become freaking out. And on the right wing, if you prioritize Trump or QAnon over Jesus Christ, you're going to be shocked because you're worshiping a false idol instead of your Lord. And I think that's the point we've gotten to where everyone's like freaking out all the time. We're like, no, it's not happening. It's because it's like, no, Trump tried really hard. He did a lot of stuff. Hopefully he's got 4 more years of fight in him. But if he doesn't, at a certain point, you're going to have to come to grips with that. Like with the Fauci thing, he could turn it around, but he has no incentive to turn it around because nobody wants to hold him accountable. No one likes Fauci, but no one cares that Fauci's still working with Pence because it's Trump. If it was Biden, you'd have riots in the streets or something. It's like, or protests. There are some now, but I think you get what I'm saying. It's like, we can't become like a liberal where we're afraid of reality because it shatters our political or social beliefs. I think my personal theory, and this doesn't matter because only the truth matters, but my personal theory was Trump was not the guy that they wanted to be there. He had some connections, he capitulated some, but for the most part, he was uncontrollable. So he was too much of a loose cannon, although he followed suit in some ways. And I genuinely think that he was not ready for this year. I think he doesn't understand the health industry that much. It's not his strong suit. And they threw at him the one thing that he didn't understand. And I think, I think he handled it bad because it was a lose-lose. I'm not going to blame him for everything, but I think they bamboozled him. And I think people want to believe he has like 50,000 plans to win it. And I hope he still does. But overall, I just don't think so. Someone said black pilled. No, this is what I'm saying. If you put your whole life in a false idol, it's a black pill. If that was never your plan to begin with, then it's a white pill. It's like, why do you think it's a black pill, a doom and gloom, when I never thought this anyway? Even when Trump won, my biggest viral video was why I think Trump is not that bad. And it got like 20 million views because I'm like, listen, I didn't even vote for Trump the first time. I did the second time, but I'm like, you guys are lying about who he is. Like he did this, and this. Like, you get what I'm saying? I never had these expectations. When you think Trump or QAnon is Jesus Christ, you're only going to be disappointed. It's like my friend made a good point. Muhammad Ali lost a fight before. He's gonna lose unless he's literally Jesus Christ, which he's probably not, which is fine. But I don't know. I don't have these huge expectations for him. Like I'm not like it. There's no black pill. I think the white pill is like people becoming the change and people fighting for themselves. It's only a black pill if you're like, oh my God, it's not what I thought it was. Well, who told you to think that way anyway? It's like, I've been cognizant the whole year. Like Trump didn't fight big pharma. Trump extended the lockdowns past Easter. Trump criticized Sweden. Trump passed Operation Warp Speed. I'm not the one sitting here like I'm going to freak out in 2 months when they realize he didn't fight big pharma. So it's not a black pill unless your whole life revolves around thinking that Trump is literally doing everything ever for you ever. That's why I always make the joke here. It's like, he's not going to wipe your poopy butt. He's done a lot. And in certain senses this year, I think he got, walloped with like the craziest pandemic in modern history. But I don't think Trump is going to save everything ever. Like, that's why I always say Trump's going to wipe your poopy butt. It's a joke of like, I feel like people just jump on his shoulders and think that that's like the moral thing to do. I find it selfish. It's like, give the guy a break. Even if you like him, it's like, why do you think he has to do everything ever for you at every time? And if he doesn't do it, he's secretly doing it behind closed doors. Like, Did it ever appear to you that like maybe he didn't do everything ever? Is that a bad thing? I don't know. It's bizarre that people think that. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I don't think he did that. I think we have to do it. And then I'm the bad guy. It's like, no, Anomaly, you don't understand. He's fighting Bill Gates by funding Bill Gates. It's like that's not how it works. I mean, only in your head, because you can't fathom that he's not doing every single thing that you ever wanted him to do. I never thought he was going to do half of what he did. So I was just happily surprised the first couple of years. I was like, he's actually doing this. That's great. Now this year, it's like, well, it's a little disappointing, but it's not a black pill. It's not a doom and gloom. We have to stop worshiping false idols in the sense of like, I think a lot of people want Trump to be literally Jesus. It's like, I don't think he's going to do everything ever for everyone at all times. I just don't see that. I think he's a human. And I think at a certain point, people are going to have to realize there's things that they're going to have to do for themselves. I don't know. Roy Music said, you're so right about liberals. When you feed them the facts and truth, they short circuit. They can't disagree. They have to be right 100% of the time. Well, I think that's like with the Republican and Democrat sort of thing. I think, I think Democrats have a blind spot that's so big. It's like bigger than their not blind spot. And that's why they're losing, like as far as mentally and like city wise, like LA is going to shit. I mean, that's why Elon Musk left. LA is going to shit. Philadelphia is going to shit. New York City is going to shit. Liberals have a blind spot that's bigger than the not blind spot. Like it's like their whole life is a blind spot. But then you go to the right wing, there's still some blind spots. I would say smaller. That's why I think conservatives are better. But there's like gaping blind spots where they give you these games. There's so many little tricks I see. But I think, that's all it is. Just get rid of the blind spots and just, we got to do our own stuff. Did you see the Tucker video about the guy admitting that China was infiltrated? Yeah, my next video is going to be about that. So after this, I'm going to work on a video and it's going to be all about that. Great video. And I'm going to kind of contribute to Tucker's reporting and do like a whole other angle of it, which is going to get me in trouble. It should be fun. We can move on, but did it make sense what I'm saying? What worries me even more than what Trump is doing is the fact that people are not ready to admit that it's happening. So then we'll never be able to stop it. Jordan said, I feel like Trump is thinking if I can't beat him, I might as well join him. Yeah, I don't know, but even when I supported Trump, like heavily in my videos, when they were all pro-Trump, my idea was never, I like Trump so much, I'm going to ignore reality. That's not what drew me to Trump. And I don't think that's what drew anyone to Trump. What drew people to Trump was the fact that he was more honest than every other politician. That's where Trump thrives. And he's such a likable guy, if you're an honest person, that I wasn't making excuses for Trump. I was like watching what he was doing. And then I was watching what the media was saying. And I was operating reality. I'm like, the media is lying. Liberals are lying. This guy is trying to end the war in Syria. He cut billions of dollars of funding, and he did do that. He got Supreme Court justices in, federal court justices. The left wing says they love prison reform. Well, Trump actually did it. Like that was the type of reporting I was doing. I wasn't making excuses for Trump in a fake way. It was a real way. It's like, here's reality. Here's what he's doing. Liberals are lying. But this year, I haven't really changed in my integrity. It's just like, the pandemic, I think, threw Trump for a loop. How could it not? How could it not throw you for a loop? It's a lose-lose situation. But he chose, in my opinion, the route of big pharma, vaccines, shutdowns, and, health public safety measures over freedom. And in my opinion, it's not a tough decision, but I understand politically, you might lose the election if you go for freedom. But as an American, I refuse to make excuses for somebody that prioritized big pharma, lockdowns, and big medicine over the American people. And it's been 8 months, and this is the point I'm getting to, is like the first month he extended it, that pissed me off. Then he was making excuses for it for months, that pissed me off. I gave him a break for a few months because I'm like, okay, election, it is true, it's a tricky situation if you're trying to win an election. The election's been over for a month, or at least at this point it doesn't really matter what he does. Like the election, for what it's worth, is over and he's fighting for it, but he's still doing the same stuff. So I gave him a pass, being like, oh, well, I didn't really give him a pass, but I'm like, I'll give him a few months to campaign. And now it's 8 months, into a pandemic. And to me, he's made a lot of wrong moves. So I understand why he might have done it, but yeah, he took, if I can't beat him, join him. This is what I'm pro lockdown. Lockdown saved millions of lives, shut down past Easter, employ Fauci, give tens of billions of dollars to vaccines, and claim that I did it. I'm the vaccine guy. He wants to be remembered in history as the guy who rushed the Moderna vaccine through safety trials and bought them before they were even done being tested and put them out on the American people. That's what he wants his legacy to be. To me, that's almost a total failure. It almost supersedes every accomplishment he's had, which are many. But that's what he's doing. I don't know why. To me, that's the biggest mistake he's ever made. It's potentially going to overshadow and destroy his legacy, but that's the game he's playing. Like, I did this. I did the vaccine. It's like, well, the mRNA vaccines were considered experimental and theoretical. They've never been released on the human market. He bought a bunch of them for the US government before they were even done being tested. There's so many financial, incentives to release it regardless of what the trials say. And this coronavirus has such a high success rate that your immune system does a better job of fighting it than actually getting the vaccine. So it's like, it's such a sick joke what they're doing. This whole year is disgusting. And he's done like nothing to fight it. Every time he seemed like he was going to, with like hydroxychloroquine, he flopped. I'm going to open, I close. He head faked 4 times. And that's just where we are. It's not all his fault, but this idea in people's head that he's like, oh, he's fighting it. It's like, not really. That's why with the election, it's like, is Biden going to be worse? The pros and cons are Biden, his cabinet's a nightmare, but at least it's a nightmare. Trump, his cabinet's not a nightmare, but they don't do anything. He employs all the same people with the task force. Everybody's under a spell thinking he's like Bill Barr's going to save them. So in some ways, it's like, it's almost worse if nobody acts on it. Are people going to act this way if Biden won? Would everybody be like, oh my God, Trump's going to secretly come in 2024? Maybe, and then it'll be worse. I don't know, but something needs to wake up 100 million people to like, yo, it's not happening. I don't know how else to do that, but I'm one person with one feeling. Why are so many Democrat governors breaking their own lockdown measures? Because they don't believe in anything they say, and that's what people need to realize with these Democrats is they don't believe any of it. I mean, why would they break their measures? Because they're total con artists. I mean, this is why people vote Republican, because Democrats are awful. I mean, they make rules, they destroy the state, they're killing California. I mean, they chased away Elon Musk. That's one of the most successful liberals ever in modern history, and they chased him out of the state. They're evil. They're just straight up evil. And that's where I think, I think a lot of conservatives, maybe not in government, but a lot of conservatives mean well. That's why I'm harder on Republicans and Trump supporters. It's not because I hate you and I think Democrats are good. I think Democrats are so far gone with their ideology that they're not going to be the ones to save America. They're not going to get rid of the mask mandate. It's got to be us. That's the only. It's going to be Trump supporters. It's either going to be Trump or it's not going to be Trump. And if it's not Trump, it's going to have to be tens of millions of people. So that's why I go harder on Trump supporters. Is not because I hate you more. It's because I like you more. And I think we are going to be the ones to save it. And if we're like caught in a spell, then we're doomed. Because I don't even talk to Democrats that much. I mean, like not in person, but I'm saying I don't make that many statements to Democrats because I don't think they're listening. And if they are, then they get it anyway. Someone said supporting your POTUS is not worship. It's worship if you can't admit what's happening in objective reality because you're so obsessed with them that you will not accept reality. Then it becomes a type of worship. It becomes a deity. It's like with the Q stuff was always dangerous from the beginning because, yeah, human trafficking is real. A lot of the stuff they're talking about is valid, and I've never said otherwise, but you're worshiping an anonymous figure that can't prove anything to you. Basically, most of what they're saying, some of it's provable, but a lot of it's like, just wait. It is kind of like a religion because people were like, we're going to wait for what he says. It's the same thing with Trump. It's fine to support him. I supported him. I voted for him. But at a certain point, if you worship him more than reality, that's when it becomes a little creepy, where it's like, I can't even admit what's going on right now because I think he's going to save me in the end. It's like you're thinking of Jesus Christ. You're not thinking of Donald Trump. Like, I feel like it's conflating where he's been a huge figure, but I feel like people are kind of at a certain point, thinking he's going to save the world. Like if you read your Bible, it doesn't say Donald Trump is going to save the world and everything's going to be fine. If you read the Bible, it says there's going to be a one world government. There's going to be a mark of a beast. There's going to be a one world currency, and it's going to get crazy. That's what it says. It doesn't say Donald Trump is going to do everything that Jesus Christ did and save your life and do everything, and he's never going to make a mistake. And if you say he made a mistake, you're unloyal. And if you stand up for your country and the Constitution over your support for Trump, you're a bad person. It's not what the Bible says, and that's not what the Constitution says. It says you have the freedom of speech and expression, and if Trump or anyone takes that away, it's unacceptable. I think it's not supporting him to support yourself, and I think it's gone a little far for me, but whatever. Someone said, that's here already. What do you think the vaccine is? Well, I mean, I know what it is. There's different types of vaccines, but the biotech one and the Moderna one, they're mRNA vaccines. If you look it up, mRNA is messenger RNA. Its purpose in your body is it goes into your DNA and it takes out a protein. It does all this stuff. And their claim is that the mRNA vaccine is going to go into your body and it's not going to touch your DNA. It's just going to replicate a protein spike or something, and then it's going to disappear. But the obvious, this has never been released on the human market. So, it's very risky. It's very risky putting something like that in your body. It's not just a normal vaccine. They're putting a fake replication of an mRNA, what it does in your body is interacts with DNA. So the obvious, it's never been approved. And why would it be approved so fast? Trump bought Moderna. You can Google Trump buys Moderna doses. He bought doses of Moderna, which is Bill Gates' favorite company, before it was even approved on the safety trials. It's still not even fully approved, but he did this back in August before they were even done with trials. So this is such a sick joke, the whole thing. What do I think it does? I have my ideas, but I will not get it. I would rather move out of the state and defend my life than get that vaccine. I will never get it. I will never go on a plane if they demand it. I will never go anywhere. I would rather get a house in the middle of nowhere and build a wall than ever interact. I'd rather make my own food. I'd rather honestly starve than get that vaccine. So I'm not touching that. Someone said Moderna is Fauci's company. I mean, yeah, Moderna is the one Bill Gates, Fauci's on Bill Gates' vaccine leadership board. Bill Gates invested in Moderna in 2016. If you go to their stock, the Moderna stock, what's the Moderna stock title? It's mRNA. Literally what it is, an mRNA vaccine. That's the abbreviation in the stock market, mRNA. This is the mRNA vaccine. There's a few, but this is the main one. This is like Bill Gates' pet project. This is not the vaccine I want to get. And Trump is not fighting it. I'm not trying to be mean, but like everyone told me all year, they're like, anomaly, he's fighting secretly. It's like, no, he's funding it. He's supporting it. He's rushing it through safety trials. Either they completely fooled him or he's in on the show. Or I don't know. There's no really other thing. It's like unless a big thing happens in 2 weeks and he secretly holds them accountable. But I've heard that story for 3 years. It's not impressive to me anymore. What about Pfizer? That's an mRNA vaccine too, I believe. You have to look it up though. I think it's the Pfizer biotech one. I think that's the mRNA vaccine too, but they're both similar. I just know that the Moderna one is like way more, Bill Gates is more into, but I'm sure he's involved. I mean, if you look at his, everything that Bill Gates is involved in, it's hard to find any medicine or vaccine company he's not involved in. So he's got his hands in everything. All right, a few more minutes and then I'm going to roll out. Someone said, what's coming? I don't know. I just want people to be ready, and I don't want to harp, and it gets annoying when I talk about this stuff, but I really just want people to be ready. I feel like people are making, and I've said this so many times, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I feel like people, not everybody, most people get it, but so many people are more interested in making an excuse for why this is happening than they are with fighting it. And that's my big problem. It's like they think their job is like a full-time making excuses for why this year happened. It's like, is someone paying you to do that? Or are you just doing that under your own free will? And I mean, people are not getting paid to say this. I'm just saying in general, it's like, why do you feel the need to do that? Like even me, I literally get paid to kind of do that in a sense of like, I'd get way more views and support if I went along with what Trump was doing. I could be making even more. And it's not a competition. I'm just saying, it's like, that's what people want me to do, and I won't even do it. It's like, I can't make excuses for why this is going on if it's against the First Amendment, if it's against businesses, if it's against human health, if it's potentially, it's not, Operation Warp Speed to me is not like a small issue. This is potentially one of the biggest, crimes against humanity, this whole pandemic and this whole rushing of this mRNA vaccine that I've ever seen in modern history. So that, in my opinion, it's like, you could say what you want, but this will completely tarnish Trump's legacy. And this is what he wants. So it's like, I don't really care about the election. It's like, this dude is destroying his whole legacy over siding with Bill Gates and Fauci over the American people and the Constitution. And they all have no plan to fully open this country up. They've given so much money and power to the medicine industry. They need to do a full reversal. And it reminds me of free speech. Like everyone's like, not only that bill, if you want free speech back, you have to fully demand it. It's not, you can't pass an anti-Semitism speech bill and say, oh, I'm fighting for free speech. No, you're giving more speech away. The Democrats are flying in the wrong direction and the Republicans are crawling in the wrong direction, and nobody seems to be able to figure it out. And my next video is going to be very eye-opening. It's going to be even less popular than this one, but it's a circus on my Twitter account. China, 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 China. China is very complicit in a lot of stuff, no doubt, but there's another country and there's another group going on that's doing even more, and they're working with China, and none of the Republicans can talk about it. They not only don't talk about it, they pass speech laws making it illegal for you to say it. So there is no super solution. You guys just have a massive blind spot for all the egregious things that the Republican Party's done over the last 2 years. And when I made videos about it, no one wants to hear it because it goes against their theory that Bill Barr is saving the world. So when it comes down to it, it's all a circus at this point, folks. The future of America is in your hands. It's in your, if you want to admit what's going on and stand up to it, we win. If you want to make excuses and follow a bunch of people who just say, China, China virus, China virus, China virus, the China virus, and it's like, oh, it's the China. Yeah, well, they're not doing anything about it. It's like, what's the point of blaming China when they're obviously complicit? But are we stopping our importing from China? All the masks that you're throwing on your face, most of them come from China. When you get one at an airport, it's from China. So we're talking shit on China, but we're importing tens of millions of masks from the virus that came from China as we're putting a China mask on our face. Are the Republicans stopping import from China? No. It's like, so how are you going to have a war with China while you're importing stuff from China? That's like bringing millions of Trojan horses into the country. You know the story of the Trojan horse? They go in your country and they jump out and take over the village. We don't need a Trojan horse because it's not a secret. We import stuff from China all the time. So it's all a fake fight. These people, Charles Lieber, which I'm going to cover in detail, and Fauci working in Wuhan, you have American citizens working on behalf of foreign countries in our own country. So it's like, yeah, China, but the enemy is more here than it is in China. That's the one that we all know. It's the one that's here that no one seems to be able to put a finger on. So I just feel like it's a big circus when I log into Twitter. It's like, oh, the China virus. Ooh, like no one's afraid of conservatives. It's like, you're a joke to people. No one's afraid of you. Like, ooh, Eric Swalwell did that. If you think that was bad, look at the last 4 years. They did that times 10,000 and no one held them accountable. I don't want to harp on it, but it's like, it just seems like a big circus to me when I log into Twitter. All right. Someone said Dems are complicit with the PPE imports, but here's what I'm saying. The Democrats are always the worst, but the Republicans are only pretending to help you. In my opinion, at this point, Trump is only pretending to help you. He's really not, besides Supreme Court, he's not really doing anything. So if people have this illusion that Republicans are secretly saving them all the time, it's not happening. It's just not. So, it's like has any Republican stopped imports from China? It's the Democrats. Name one Republican state that stopped imports from China. Everything you get on Amazon's from China. All the masks are from China. It's not just Democrats. It's every state. All 50 states are calling China the enemy while they're importing stuff from China. That's an easy way to lose the war. Imagine being at war with somebody while importing a bunch of products from them. Are they trying to get us killed? Are American Republicans trying to get us killed? Because if I'm going to declare war, I would win the war. I wouldn't just sit there and be like, oh, I'm at war with China. And then all 50 states are importing tens of millions of products from China. That's a quick way to get your own citizens killed. These people are like kamikaze pilots, folks, both parties. Trump's not doing shit. Republicans aren't doing shit. They're just talking. Meanwhile, they're burying us. Our country's being buried with the lockdowns. They're talking shit to another country while they're importing all these massive products from there. So what do you think they're going to do to these products? If we're really at a real war, you better hope it's a fake Twitter war, because if it's a real war, we're going to lose at this rate. I mean, if I was to declare, oh, we're fighting with China, yeah, well then cut off every import from China, but we can't do that because we're relying on China. So we're kind of screwed. It's just like, I don't know. I just can't imagine talking this much shit on China while letting all 50 states funnel products from there. That sounds like a terrible idea, but they don't even get to the bottom of it. They don't even know who's working with China, It's a joke, but whatever. I'm going to read this real quick. Someone said, Republicans have allowed business interests to come before American liberty. And this is what my next video is going to be about, but not just business interests, foreign interests. Okay, Mike Lee in Utah just passed a bill to make it easier for Chinese people to get visas, Chinese citizens to get visas. If you go to China, they don't let any no dual citizens get to be in their government. Do you know why? Because they know how the world works. Why would you have somebody serving two masters in your own government? So China government doesn't allow anybody to have dual citizens. Meanwhile, we're at war with China, importing products from China, and you have Republican senators passing H-1B visas to replace American workers and I'm not crying about immigrants, they're taking our jobs. I'm talking about the government forced millions of people to lose their job this year. So their responsibility has to be replace every single job that you stole this year. The government stole your job and destroyed your business. They're not only not replacing it, they're greenlighting cheaper labor from India to take it from you. And then how can we import more workers when the workers that we have can't even work at their own jobs because the government won't help them? So that's what Mike Lee's doing, and he's making it easier for Chinese nationals to get citizenship here. So while they're at war with us, your Republicans are selling you out. And if you want to talk about dual loyalty and dual citizenship in government, there's one country that, it's harder to find a House or Congressperson that doesn't have dual loyalty to a certain country or dual citizenship than they do. We have 80 people from a different country that all have dual citizenship. So what do you think happens when you have two citizenships and two passports, and one country is a country filled with only your ethnicity, and America is just a great melting diversity pot that you don't have an ethnic connection to? Who do you think they're more loyal to? Probably the country with all their ethnicity. But guess what Republicans are doing, folks? They're passing speech bills to make it illegal for you to say that. If you say these people have dual loyalty or dual citizenship, Trump passed an executive order to make that hate speech on college campus. That's why I call them all frauds when it comes to Charlie Kirk and Shapiro and Prager. They're all frauds. They're selling out your Constitution. They're selling out your First Amendment. And they're making it illegal on college campuses in certain elements to say that people have dual loyalty when that's obvious. So they're not only not fighting for free speech on college campuses, they're con artists who are going around duping Republicans into believing that they're fighting for free speech while all the Republicans are passing bills to make it illegal to say the truth on college campuses. They're not fighting cancel culture on college campuses. They're selling out your country on college campuses. And then if anybody goes to their event and raises a hand and asks a question about it, they kick them out of the event like a communist. So the whole party is full of shit, folks. It's not just the Democrats. The Republicans are equally as complicit. And all they know how to say is China, 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 because that's impressive to certain people. It's like, yeah, China. It's such a joke, guys. They're doing nothing. They're doing less than nothing. They're selling the country out. Am I on D Live? No, but if I keep talking like this, I'll probably have to be on D Live eventually. But no, I'm not on D Live. I'm on Parler. I'm on BitChute. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Rumble. All right, let's see. Do I still write music? Yeah. I'm working. I'm just so busy. Like even today, I woke up. Well, first of all, I stayed up till 4 o'clock doing that last video. If you guys watched my last video, then I wake up. I'm writing a book. I have 2 songs to write and record. I'm so busy. I can't do anything, but I love doing live streams too. And so I'm like, I have 4 video ideas. I have a book. I have 2 songs. It sucks because I don't have enough time in the day. It's a blessing to be, inspired to do a lot of stuff, but it's like, yeah, I have so much I have to work on. I just don't have time to do it. Danny said, I read that there are a lot of politicians with dual citizenship to Israel. Yeah, that's what I was talking about for sure. More than China. That's where most of the dual citizenship is in America. But this is what I'm talking about. Republicans pass speech laws to make it illegal to say that. If you say someone with a dual citizenship to Israel has dual loyalty, that's anti-Semitic. Trump is passing executive orders saying that that's anti-Semitic. You can't say it. You could say it about Chinese people. You could say it about Poland. You could say it about anywhere, just not Israel. Do you know why? Is it because it's hateful? No, it's because it's factual. Because there's dozens of people, if not more, not everybody, but dozens of people who have not just dual loyalty, they have more loyalty to that country. So when you read things like, oh, Israel gives away military secrets to China, I wonder why. I wonder where they got those. So that's the big 2-party deception. China is selling the country out, but so are other people, but you're not allowed to talk about it because Republicans have decided they worship that country more than they worship this country. That's why they sell out the First Amendment for it. That's why Charlie Kirk and Shapiro, they're all just front men, just lying to people, selling out the First Amendment and convincing you that it's hateful to say the truth. The truth is hate speech now. So you just have to assume that everybody of one ethnicity is just 100% loyal to America. I mean, that's not true in any other situation in the world. I mean, every Chinese citizen's not loyal to America. Every Mexican citizen's not loyal to America. Every Argentinian citizen's not loyal to America. Every European citizen's not loyal to America. It's not true at all for any ethnicity. But if you suggest that it's not true for Israeli citizens, dozens of which are in Congress, then you're an anti-Semite. And Trump passes executive orders making it illegal to say. Ron DeSantis passes orders making it illegal to say. They all are in on it. They all do it. And it's the number one thing that censors people. If you write a book about it, banned on Amazon. If you talk about it on YouTube, banned on YouTube. It's the number one thing that they censor people for, more than conservatism. And the Republican Party is beyond complicit. They make it impossible to even say. That's why I was talking about earlier. If I disagree with Israel on one thing, they'll call you an anti-Semite. It's like I could disagree with America. It's fine. Disagree with Trump, it's fine. Biden, it's fine. Democrats, it's fine. Talk about the intelligence communities, it's fine. Talk about Saudi Arabia, it's fine. Question Israel or even mention them, compliment them. Oh, it's anti-Semitic. Shut it down. Don't talk about it. Don't mention it. Don't notice anything. It's not happening. If you even suggest that it could ever possibly happen, we will make sure that there's a speech bill for you, and we'll make sure that it's illegal to say. Oh yeah, that really builds confidence. That's really how you tell the truth. It's such a joke. And I've noticed this for 2 years. I've been talking about it, but people don't want to hear it. They want to believe that some secret plan's happening to save, while both parties have just been wearing us down and selling out our Constitution. What do I think of Salty Cracker? I don't really know much about him. I think I've seen one of his YouTube videos or 2 of them, and he seemed pretty funny. I liked how he had like a humorous angle to it. I don't know much about him, but I think I've seen 1 or 2, and I liked his humor. I think anybody that's funny is always better than someone that's like screaming at you like me. Someone said half of Americans are not loyal to the country. No, for sure. I mean, literally, you have American citizens who hate America. I mean, I agree. I think over like half of the country doesn't like America. They literally like, they're like, my privilege, my American privilege is so bad. I'll just ignore concentration camps in Muslim concentration camps in China because I hate myself. It's like, yeah, half the country is not loyal. So My point is, it's not constitutional to make it illegal to say that somebody doesn't have loyalty. But that's what Republicans are doing. I wouldn't think it's constitutional if they did it for Muslims, for Israel, for Saudi Arabia, for China. It's not constitutional. You should be able to talk about anything you want. That's constitutional. So the fact that Republicans are doing that is a massive red flag. Ultraman Red, thank you. What's up, Scott? And I'll tell you what, folks, and I'm here to be someone who doesn't lie to you. I've tried to say this multiple times. I'm not going to name names because I'm a nice guy and I don't like drama, but I've tried to say what I just told you twice in big conservative outlets, and both times they censored me. So all these people that lie to you and suck up your money, they say, "Oh, I'm fighting for your free speech." No, they're not. Because when I go on their platform, whether it's their podcast or on their platform, and I talk about this, they censor me. They chop the podcast out. They delete it. They try to frame me. They delete it. They say, "Oh, I'm sorry, it just doesn't fit with what we're doing." They cut my script and edit my video out of context, so they take it out. Anything that goes about Israel that isn't just, "Oh my God, I'm obsessed with them, give them billions of dollars a year." The Republican Party is the number one censor of this stuff. They blacklist, silence, and censor anybody who talks about it. So the reason you've never heard of it is because they won't allow you to hear it. They are the biggest liars, the biggest hypocrites. They go around conning people on college campuses while they pass bills to make it illegal to say things on college campuses. They're not patriots. They are such con artists. And I've done this twice, and they've cut my stream twice. You think their audience wouldn't like me? They all know when I go to these Trump events, everywhere I go, everyone knows I get stopped 1,000 times. Like if I went to a TPUSA event, I'd be more popular than the main speaker. All of their audience loves me, but they don't want to broadcast this message because everyone will realize they're frauds. It's like, "Oh, he'll debate. He won't debate me. Why would he debate me? He's an anti-First Amendment total con artist." If I said what I said, he'd be like, well, I worship this. So the First Amendment, yeah, well, we get it. Whatever. All right, let's read a few comments, then we're going to roll out. What time is it? 5:55. I feel good. What will happen with Biden and the Democrats if CCP takes over the U.S.? Will they keep them alive? This country has already been taken over. This country got taken over like 100 years ago, and we're just seeing the benefits. Lenin said, 90% of establishing communism is getting a central bank. Once they control the money, once the communists control the money, they control everything. It's like owning a casino. You could win on a slot machine, but you're not really winning. They're winning. You get what I'm saying? The wins are always bigger. So they've controlled the banking system for 100 years. Since if you read Behold a Pale Horse by Bill Cooper, he talks about all of these sneaky ways that presidents have superseded the Constitution for like 50 or 60 years. So this is like end stage reality where China is the least of our worries. And I'm not saying that because China is not complicit. China is not really going to help us. They're not helping us this year. They totally bamboozled us. But the communists have been in America for 100 years. The only person who ever said it was McCarthy. He said communists have infiltrated every aspect of society, and they laughed at him. And now what's going on with the country, I don't think he was wrong, to be quite frank. So I think after World War II, we fought with the communists. So if you actually, outside of just like, okay, Stalin killed a lot of people, Hitler killed a lot of people, that's all you really learn. But if you look at who America aligned themselves with in World War II, it was China, it was Soviet Union. Who was China and Soviet Union? They're communists. So America fought the National Socialists, the Nazi, Hitler, with the communists. So communists won World War II, and the EU or the UN or whatever it's called, they established. And since then, their communist global agenda has been, just rolling out as normal. So this year is like a rude awakening. It's like, yeah, China, but China's not the least of our problems. And I'm not saying that because I'm covering up for China. China's a huge problem. But like, if you think you're going to fight China and win, you're going to lose, because 10,000 times as many communists are already working within our system in this country. They own Facebook, they own Google, they own YouTube, they own the central banks, they control pretty much entire Hollywood, they control almost every media station. So, you know, China's the least of our worries. And I'm not saying that they're not a problem. I'm just saying communists already kind of have everything here. Someone said, wrong, this country was returned to us. Trump took over the Federal Reserve back in March. Look it up. Whatever you want to tell yourself. Trump, in March or April, Trump did some sort of move with the Federal Reserve not to give us our monetary system back. He did it to give trillions of dollars to big corporations and big pharma. It was the biggest wealth transfer in modern history. So instead of facing that reality and saying, wow, that was the biggest wealth transfer in modern history while we were locked down, QAnon told everybody, look at this Yahoo article out of context. He's saving the Federal Reserve. And everyone said, oh my God, Trump is saving it. He didn't, he gave trillions of dollars away. He did not save us. That's what Q, every time something bad happens, Q flips it and it's like, he's secretly funding Bill Barr. And everyone's like, no, that it's like, at what point do you wake up? Do you ever face the reality of what happened this year? Or do you constantly just make up things that never happened? He merged, I believe, the Treasury with the Federal Reserve temporarily. It's the same people. If you think putting the Federal Reserve in the hands of the Treasury and Mnuchin, ooh, Mnuchin is a superhero. Is that the new game we're going to play, guys? Come on. It's like Mnuchin is the new Bill Barr. It's Mnuchin is. It's like Trump temporarily merged the Treasury, I believe, in the Federal Reserve to do $1 trillion spending bill or whatever it was, the multi-trillion-dollar CARES Act, which just gave Big Pharma more power. It's like Big Pharma. It's like the Treasury and the Federal Reserve is like the same dynamic to like the UN and the CDC. I shut down the UN and we're working with the CDC. It's like, oh, we're fighting the communists and the globalists. It's like the CDC is the same as the UN. They're the same exact people. It's just like you close down one and open the same door. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just like, I don't know. I have to make a joke out of it or else I just get annoyed. Someone said, I haven't seen your posts in a while. Facebook has totally sabotaged my page. So my live streams get like half the viewers. My videos get like 10 times less things. I used to get 300, 400,000, 2 million, 8 million, 10 million views on every Facebook video. They don't show it. So just a quick heads up. If you want to see my videos, you have to check every day. I know it's annoying, but I will not show up in your feed. My posts will not show up in your feed. It's nearly impossible. They've rigged my page and they told me, it's not me like guessing, oh, I'm shadow banned when I'm not shadow banned. They've told me you're fake news, aka I'm too honest, and my whole page has been destroyed. I mean, it's not been all destroyed, but they're crushing my engagement. I used to get 20,000 comments, 100,000 shares, they've destroyed my audience. They won't let people see the stuff. So you have to click on, if you want to see my Facebook stuff, you got to click on my page, unfortunately. Now YouTube is better than Facebook for me, but they just flip flop and then they eventually just work together. It's fine. All right, a couple more minutes and I'm out. All right, I'm going to read this. It's a negative comment, but I appreciate the dialogue. Let me see. Hold on. I got to scroll here. I'm going to read this. Charles on Facebook. Thank you, Charles. He said, you couldn't be more wrong. Your credibility is in the toilet. It's not the same people at all. God, you're full of shit. All right. Thanks, Charles. Thank you for that. I don't know what you were talking about. Obviously, you're not right. But if you want to explain yourself, I'll try to read your comment again. Someone said, have your own website. I have Patreon. If you're interested, patreon.com/raretalk. But money is fine. I'm not concerned about money. It's the reach. It's the audience. It's the message. That's what I'm more annoyed about. Money, it's not a problem for me. I'm fine. What are we supposed to do? Said Casa. I'm getting tired. I'm standing up, but I've been trying to explain it, but I mean, one, save yourself. Two, have a good day, enjoy yourself. Don't get too stressed out. But in regards to what I'm talking about, I hate to harp on it, but it's the one thing that conservatives in whole, not all, but in whole, don't understand, and it's literally such a big deal. It's like, if you don't understand this, it's just going to be a circus forever. That's why nothing's happened in 4 years, because people don't understand the dynamic of who the parties really are. And, as far as what to do personally, have a good day, enjoy yourself, enjoy life. I'm saying? Do what you can. As far as the mask mandates and stuff, I don't know, make the most of it and go where you feel comfortable. But as far as the two parties, I'm going to do a video later, but there's a certain game being played that no one understands. It's bigger than what Trump supporters think. They're missing a whole part of the dynamic. I figured this out like a year or two ago. I've said it a few times. But when I say it, people just don't want to hear it, or they say it's racist, or they think it's terrible and it's hate speech, so I just don't say it that much anymore. But at the same time, I do. But then there's huge blowback. So I can't, it's like talking to a liberal. It's like, how can you make a liberal become conservative or whatever? It's like, I don't know. I mean, some people listen, some people learn, others don't. That's just the way of the world. So I could explain what's going on to some extent, but if people don't want to consider it, then it is what it is. I don't know. I like this 6'6" IQ bear or something, 150 IQ bear said, the only real plan is God's plan. That's the plan to follow. I like that. That's what it is. At the end of the day, this is politics. This is a circus. There's pros and cons to be had, but follow God's plan. Enjoy yourself. That's what it's about. On BitChute, Dream Rare is my channel, but if you search Anomaly, you just have to click on the channel. For some reason, their search algorithm sucks, and if you search Anomaly, you can't find it. But if you search Anomaly, just hit channel, and you'll find my page. Do I listen to Lance Wallnau? No. Sorry, I got like a little thing on my lip. It's like a little fuzz or something. Someone said, sad to see you be negative today. Well, no, I wasn't negative. I mean, we had a great time. It was like for the first hour and a half, it was just like all good vibes. We were doing jumping jacks and stuff. It was fantastic. We were just cracking jokes. And then I don't know. We just had a little discussion at the end. It's the thing though, it's like the comforting lie over the, uncomfortable truth, where we had a blast for like an hour and a half. There was just no bad vibes at all, no anything. And then it comes to the thing that like people don't understand, where it's not as fun. I don't think it's as fun, or like it's not like making fun of Joe Biden or something, but it's important. So it's like there's a moment for everything. You can't just do jumping jacks all the time. You'll get tired. So I think we had fun, but I think certain things are more uncomfortable than others. And I'll try to explain it in a better way. That's definitely something I can do, but I know these things people just don't want to hear, and I could never talk about them. But if you don't understand this element of it, it's like, and most people don't. And if you say it, they'll call you names. They'll say that you hate entire groups of people, which is not true. So it's like, it falls on deaf ears. It's okay though. What about the feds tying the next stimulus to taking the vax? Well, that's a really good point about, if you're on welfare before, let's say before COVID, if you're on welfare or you're on certain government packages, what they do sometimes is force you to do things. So I've heard in certain cases, certain welfare packages, they make you get the vaccine if you want the welfare. So what we did this year under Trump, if you want to be honest, is they put the whole country on welfare. If you got a check, you're now a socialist. They put you on, they turned the whole, Trump said America will never be a socialist nation. It's worse than a socialist nation right now. It's almost a full-blown communist nation besides people dying. It's pretty bad. And hopefully it gets better. But when when they take away your business, you're relying on the government. Trump was complicit in making everyone relying on the government. So yeah, if they give you, now they're trying to say, well, if you get this stimulus package, you have to do what we say. This is why we're supposed to be conservative or libertarian or constitutional. We want them to leave us alone, but that's the one thing they won't do this year, is leave us alone. So when you destroy people's business, force them on welfare, you can control them. You could say you can't get the check unless you get the vaccine. And it's probably what they're going to do. I don't doubt it. So I'm lucky. I'm not taking the stimulus if that's the case. We'll see if they do it or not. But that's the whole reason we're supposed to not want socialism. But for some reason this year, I can't understand it. It's like for 4 years, everybody said how much socialism sucks. And then it comes to America. And this is why maybe the vibe changed here. But people are more interested in arguing with me, which is fine. You could see my channel. I like a good debate. But people are more interested in making excuses for medical tyranny, making excuses for communism. It's like, maybe I need to calm down, but it's like, I don't get it. It's like, I thought we didn't like this. And now it comes and everyone's like, well, Trump did this and that. It's like, you're more interested in making excuses for what Trump did this year than you are actually reversing it. And that's why it's here. It's not because of Trump. It's not because of Biden. It's not because of Democrats. It's not because of Republicans. It's because enough conservatives literally let it happen and seem to be more interested in making excuses for it. Like I read it earlier, but I'm going to read it again. I like Liz Wheeler, but to me, this tweet fully encompasses everything that's wrong with a lot of conservatives. And I think she's great and beautiful. But she said, I'm going to read it again. So Biden's COVID-19 plan includes masks, vaccinations, opening schools. President Trump's plan has been masks, vaccinations, opening schools. And then she said, but let me guess, the mainstream media will cheer Biden as the savior while Trump is the Grim Reaper. She's right. The media always blames Trump for doing the same thing. But the part she's missing is like she becomes a cheerleader. Now, instead of being like, Trump's literally doing what Biden would have done or Hillary would have done. Like this year was a total failure. Instead of realizing that, she's cheering it on. She's like, Trump's doing the same thing Biden's doing, but Biden's going to get all the credit. It's like, that's the problem, Liz, is that Trump is doing the same thing that Biden did. I'm sure Biden will be slightly worse, but it's like conservatives turn into like cheerleaders for horrible things when Trump does it. That's like a huge problem. It's like, that's what she thinks is the good thing is actually the bad thing. It's like, no, that's the problem, Liz. The problem is he's doing the same thing as Biden. Who cares what the media says? They're liars. I get it. They lie. I've talked about it on thousands of videos, but it's like they play this opposite game where it's like, well, now the rushing the vaccines is good because Trump did it. And it's like, stop. Does anybody have any morals anymore? Does anybody have any values? Does anybody have the ability to like stand up for themselves? Or is this just a giant circus? It's like, I don't play. It's like, we're owning the libs by being the libs. We own the libs by being the libs, and the media lies about us. Like, I'm convinced half these people just want clicks and like attention or something. It's like, well, this year, you know who this year was the worst year for? This year was the worst year for the campus conservatives and these people who make a living off of fighting liberals because they're still posting. And Charlie Kirk's like still posting. I'm fighting with a liberal. Who cares, bro? Communism came to this country and you have no plan. You have no reporting videos on it. You have millions of dollars in funding and you've done virtually nothing this year to free America from communism. And you're just cranking out these corny viral videos with you arguing with 17-year-old conservatives. Like, yeah, we are liberals. Yeah, we get it. 19-year-old liberals don't know anything, but you're like a grown man nearly fighting with the 18-year-old. Like, wow, but like that was cute last year. 2 years ago, that was cute. This year, it's not cute anymore. It's like, where's your plan to end communism? They don't have a plan. They're just like clickbaiting. They're like, what can I do to get views? It's like, that stuff's not funny anymore. Like, this year, President Trump signed off on a $1 trillion CARES Act. That's worse than an Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez bill. And every Republican signed off on it except for Thomas Massey. And he got obliterated by Trump and the Republicans. Like, that's the story of this year. They're like one-trick ponies. All they know how to do is sell socialism sucks t-shirts, but they don't know how to fight socialism when it's actually here. You could say America will never be a socialist nation, but America is a socialist nation. You made it a socialist nation. You signed off on the socialism. You're funding Big Pharma, and you have no plan to reverse the socialism. All you guys talk about is more stimulus packages. That's socialism. Businesses shut down, stimulus government packages, that's socialism. So who cares that they've said this for 3 years? Socialism sucks. Socialism sucks. It's like they're more concerned with just like their image or something. My whole My whole reporting changed this year. I got 100 million views doing COVID reporting, how they're counting cases, how they're counting deaths. I don't just sit here and say, oh, I'm going to fight 17-year-old liberals. It's like, wow, I'm 31 years old. Like, yeah, I would hope that I'd be able to debate a 19-year-old blue-haired liberal. I would be able to crush 19-year-old myself in a debate. Yeah, like, wow, I'm 10 years older than you. I mean, obviously. So it's like, when push came to shove, who actually knew how to do something and who just literally just harps on the same thing that they've always done, which doesn't work. And last year, they weren't even protecting the Constitution. They sold out the First Amendment and just convinced everybody they were fighting for it. These people are just as bad as Democrats to me. It's like the difference is I know who Democrats are. People actually think these people are fighting for them. It's a huge deception. I'm not trying to be mean, but it's just like, I'm like watching their Twitter account. I'm like, are you going to contribute to like saving America from communism? Or is this just like a clickbait article where you're like, man, I argued with this guy. It's like, okay. Anomaly, talk about the way we fight. Wait, hold on. I just clicked something. I screwed up. We need to start talking about how we fight. Well, I mean, there's a different video for everything. I just did a video kind of explaining it yesterday. So if you want to watch that one, but I mean, overall, you have to just stand up for yourself. I think, first of all, protect yourself, put yourself in a good position with what's going on, be realistic about it and try to put yourself in a good position. But as far as the country, for me, for example, I'm one person. I can't do everything, but I can go where I want to go. And if I don't like California, I could leave. I'm fighting locally. I go out to Huntington Beach and I try to get meetings with mayors and say, listen, why, and I'm not even going at Democrats where it's like, obviously Gavin Newsom sucks, but like, we get it. Why are Republican mayors putting up with this? I'm trying to put pressure on the Republican mayors to cut the bullshit because they're like, well, they never do anything. So I'm doing what I can on a local level. It's like, change yourself to change the world. Start with yourself. Then try to change your community, then try to change your city and state, and then try to change the country. But as far as, what to do on a country level, we need, and this, I've said this so many times, I don't want to sound like a broken record. We need tens of millions of patriots to demand freedom instead of tens of millions of patriots making excuses for communism. I don't understand. Like when Trump was on TV and I got so much backlash, he said on TV, my lockdown saved millions of lives. If we didn't lock down, we'd end up like Sweden. So Trump in a year said Sweden was a socialist nation. We will never be a socialist nation. And a year later moves the goalpost and says, Sweden is too free. They have too much freedom. We lock down like a communist, and that's good because I save lives. And no one cares except for me. I'm like, and like 10 people. I'm like, this is crazy. Trump is supporting communism over freedom. And he's complaining that Sweden has too much freedom. If tens of millions of patriots stand up to Trump in April, this ends in April. If tens of millions of patriots want to cry to me on Instagram and Facebook and say, no, you don't understand, then you get communism. You deserve communism. Don't blame Trump. Blame yourself. It's not his fault. It's your fault. It's our fault. So it's like, I never thought this was acceptable in April and May and June. I called it out every time. And everyone got mad at me. People are more passionate about fighting with me than they are for fighting for their country. That's the problem. So on a countrywide level, when tens of millions of patriots decide to be as passionate about fighting for freedom and a full open up of America, we get a full open of America. When tens of millions of patriots are more concerned with making excuses for communism than they are fighting for freedom, you get communism. It's really that simple. It's really that simple. And the whole year, the zeitgeist of the Trump movement has been make excuses for Trump, get mad at people who actually want freedom. So you deserve communism. It's not Trump's fault. It's not Gavin Newsom's fault. It's not Governor Abbott's fault. It's not Raffensperger's fault. We allowed this whole year. This whole year is our fault. So that's it. On a country level, that's it. When you're as passionate for standing up for freedom against Trump and anybody involved and saying this is unacceptable, you will get it. If you want to make excuses and make theories in your head about how it's not happening, you get communism and you deserve it. Someone said if Sweden went down again, they're doing fantastic. Lockdowns kill. The top 6 countries in the world in deaths per capita, all lockdown. Trump says lockdowns save lives. He's wrong. Lockdowns kill. Freedom saves lives. Lockdowns kill. So if Trump goes on television and says lockdowns save lives and freedom kills, he's a liar and he deserves to be called one. And everybody who likes him should say, Trump, you're lying. Give us our freedom back. Stop acting like not locking down is a bad idea. Sweden's doing fine. All the worst countries are locked down. You can look at mask mandates in certain areas and find certain trends. It's not this genius plan that is saving everybody's life. This whole year is bullshit, guys. This whole year is bullshit. And the reason, once again, then we're going to move on. The reason we have it is not because of Trump or Biden or Hillary. It's because tens of millions of Trump supporters are more passionate about making excuses for communism than they are about literally stopping communism. It all stops when we stop playing. And the amount of people who want to argue instead of fight for freedom is bigger than the amount of freedom fighters. So it's all good. But when I say this stuff, I'll tell you, people understand it. I know there's going to be people in the chat that are pissed, but when I go out into the streets and I talk to people, of course, the majority of patriots who are fighting against the lockdown are Trump supporters. That's just what it's going to be. That's why I go hard at Trump supporters. I don't not like you. I don't not like Trump. I do like Trump. And I do like you. And I know that it's you that's going to save this country. It's not, unless something drastically changes, it's not going to be Democrats. So I don't even talk to them. It's not me giving them a pass. I don't care about the CCP. I expect them to be corrupt. I don't care about Democrats. I expect them to be corrupt. I care about the patriots in this country and the Trump supporters, the tens, if not hundreds of millions of people who should be fighting for freedom who are it. And I know when I say this stuff and I go out, I talk to people with Trump hats on and say, Anomaly, I like what you're saying. I agree with you. I like Trump, but you're right. So I know I'm getting through to people because it's like, it's not a Trump bash fest, but it's like, just if you get what I'm saying? If I do something, I hope you like me, but you shouldn't lie about what I did. Like if I take this bottle and smash it over my head and it breaks into a million pieces, I don't want you to say, well, I like Anomalies, so that never happened because I like them. It's like, no, you can like me, but also admit I just smashed a bottle over my head and that's just what happened. So it's like, it's like, just be honest about it. Our obsession with somebody can't be so big that reality doesn't matter anymore. And that's why the liberals are losing the plot. You lose the plot when you lose the truth and when you become like delusional. That's why liberals are losing the plot. That's why I go so hard at these bills, these anti-First Amendment bills. It's not anti-Semitic. It's the fact that you have power when you stand in the light. When you become a liar or when you become a deluded person, you lose your power. That's all we have. We don't have the media. We don't have that much money. Some people do. I don't. But this is our power. Our power comes from the truth. We can't lose that. We can't become deluded, or else we're just going to lose the plot the same way they are. Someone said to stand up, you need money. Well, in numbers, not necessarily. Like, yeah, money matters, but at the same time, we'll go back to something positive. Elon Musk is leaving California. Money talks, he's gone. Joe Rogan leaving California. So money talks, and they're going to lose money eventually. The problem with the government, and which is why I'm even more annoyed about this year, is the government always steals your money with taxes and gives it to Gavin Newsom. So a forest fire happens, he gets the money. Trump gives him the money, or someone gives him the money. It's like COVID happens, he gets the money. They never learn because they always get the money. So, eventually the president's going to have to be like, no, you're not getting money for federal funding. Get the forest under control. Or no, you're not getting COVID money. This is bullshit. It's like we always capitulate, so they always get money. But if Elon Musk leaves and if Silicon Valley leaves, maybe they'll eventually have to learn. I don't know where they live in LA, but at a certain point, no one's going to want to live in LA. It's already pretty much at that point. So at a certain point, money can talk, but also enough people acting will ruin their money plans, I think. I don't know. Someone said Joe Rogan is not on our side. I'm not saying that. I'm saying he left. You get what I'm saying? Like people with money leaving is not necessarily helpful for them. Someone said we have to unite. I'm so heartbroken. We're losing our republic and our freedom. Yeah, but people have to unite and do something. If everybody unites and just sits there and makes excuses for what's happening, that's not really a winning team. So someone said Portland is under attack again. I would not want to be there. God bless everybody in Portland. That's one place I do not want to be. Chris said it all ends the day we stop. Thank you, Rebecca. Or Reborn. Thank you. Someone said you inciting for war? No, literally not at all. Are you pooping your pants? We could play this game. Say a question that never happened. Are you pooping your pants? Okay, just making sure. Who is we? I don't know. Whoever wants to be we. I don't know what you're referring to. Tesla leaving is a big deal. Joe Rogan, not so much. Yeah, I agree. I'm just saying if enough people with money leave, that it's not good. But yeah, Tesla leaving, big deal, bigger deal. Yeah, I wasn't saying Joe Rogan leaving is like a great freedom when I'm just saying when people with money and businesses leave, that hurts. But Elon hurts a lot more. As far as, I find it interesting where I feel like so many people leave California for Texas and then they bring the policy with them. You should almost, for personal preservation, when someone comes, you should have a sit down explanation with everybody and be like, Joe Rogan, you left California. Like, because Joe Rogan to me seems like the type of person that would leave California and like still vote progressive or something. I mean, he always plays the fence, but it's like, Joe, you left Democrat area for a Republican area. But he's like, yeah, but I like Austin because it's blue. And it's like, Joe, do not Austin or Texas. Do not California or Texas. And Joe's like, please. It's like, Joe, you left the blue state. Do not turn the state blue. Like, people need to talk, or else they're like, well, I think maybe if we turn Texas to California, then it'll be like Austin. It's like, Joe, don't do it. Do not California or Texas. He's like, please. Like, I feel like he wants to so bad. He's like, please. But then there's going to be more weed and DMT. And I was like, Joe, no. He's like, but just a little bit, just like, it's like, just stop, dude. Hold on. I'm going to read this comment. It's really funny, but it's also funny because of your name. Hold on. This guy said his name is Dank Dank. All right, Dank Dank. I'm reading your comment. He says, I used to listen to Joe Rogan, but he smoked pot on the podcast. And to me, that's unprofessional. I find that's extra funny because your name is Dank Dank. So like, you're like, Dank Dank is like, he smokes pot on us. I don't know why that's so, like, you sound like you smoke weed and you're mad that he does on his podcast. I don't know. I found that very funny. It's like Stoner 420. You're like, I'm disappointed Joe smokes on his podcast. I'm just playing. I don't know. I find it very funny. Someone said we have to show up to our city council meetings to make changes. I'm doing what I can. I'm trying to get meetings with mayors. I'm like, to me, the mayors are like letting it happen. I'm going to say this. I said it in my speech too. I'm glad I said it right. But in a red state in Texas or Florida, it's like the blue mayors go rogue and they let them go rogue, and the blue companies go rogue and the blue airlines go rogue. In a blue state, the red mayors don't do anything. They just sit and take it. That's why I'm tired of the GOP. They don't do anything. They're obviously slightly better, but it's not cutting it anymore. So, I think if you like your mayor, like I'm seeing everyone like, this is so good. I'm like, this is okay. It's not terrible, but it's not great. It is kind of, it's like thank you for giving us 30% capacity. It's like, I'm not a slave. I'm not like, thank you so much for giving me 75% less than I had last year, thanks to big government takeover. I'm so thrilled. It's like, no, I'll give you a compliment. But then at the same time, it's like, open up 100% capacity, not 20%, not 30%, not 40%, not Operation Warp Speed, 100%. That's what I said with the megaphone. I can't stand, like, it's like, it reminds me of like slave conditioning. They're like, thank you, massa. Thank you, massa, for 10%. It's like, no, let's get 1,000% capacity, 100%. Like, it's like, thank you so much for 25% of what I used to have as Amazon grows. No more. No more. Someone said most of us need training to reach local government. I mean, it's tricky, but it all starts on a personal level. Like it's a numbers game, but like personally, what can you do? If you own a business, what can you do? Like everything will matter. But yeah, I don't know how much training you need to reach out to local people. I mean, it's tough because they feel a certain way. I'm trying to get a meeting. He said yes, but then he didn't answer me. So it's like, it's tricky, but we can make moves. What if all the airlines go bankrupt? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, then we have a country that has no airlines, or they're going to bail them out. I don't know. That's the thing with the pandemic. It's not like, I feel like sometimes people frame it, and I don't care, but people will frame it like I'm crazy, like anomaly. Trump has a plan. I'm like, this is bigger than Trump, and this is bigger than me. It's not like my opinion doesn't matter. My little fit that I throw doesn't matter. It's the fact that if you do this to a country for 8 months or 2 years, the whole country is going to be defunct. You might not have food. You might not have airlines. You might not have any sort of freedom left. You might not have. So it's like, it's not about me. I'm fine. I mean, it's annoying, but it's like, I don't do this because I'm like, man, I don't like Trump, man. And it's like, anomaly, you don't trust Trump and Fauci. It's like, no, it's not about me. And it's not about Trump. You can't do this to a country. Trump can't do this to a country. And if he's in office, if he can't stop it, then someone else has to stop it. If he can't do it, then he's not the guy. If he's funding Bill Gates' vaccine companies, but he's not really saying much about the lockdown, then he's not the guy to do it. And this is not like it's not about me. It's like, oh, well, no, I like Trump. Yes, so do I. But if he flops on the biggest moment of a communist takeover in modern history, he's got to get out of the way for someone else. And I hate to say that, but it's like, well, I like him a lot, so let's just destroy the whole country. We don't have another minute to waste. We don't have another day to waste. We don't have another month to waste. We don't have another year to waste. I don't care if it's Trump. I don't care if it's Biden. I don't care if it's Ted Cruz. Like, I don't know what they're waiting for, but I'll tell you what, it seems like they just gave up. Like, it seems like, whatever. This is just how the world's going to be. And it's very sad because I don't have kids, but if I had kids, I couldn't imagine how much even more passion I would be to not raise my kids in this world. This is a sicko world. This is gross. It's bad for adults. It's bad for the elderly. It's disgusting. Psychological effect on kids. It's not about me, and it's not about Trump. It's bigger than that. It doesn't matter what you think are the reasons that he didn't do it. Our country cannot afford to do this for another day. And I said this in April. It's like, I've had to get over it, reading the Bible, calming down, eating dinner, enjoying my life. But like, it's like I was freaking out in April and May when Trump reclosed the economy and everyone's getting mad at me. Anomaly, you don't understand. I'm like, it's not about me. It's not about me. It's not about Trump. We can't do this. And this was in April. I just had to like cope with it for a second. Because like, what am I going to be mad every day of my life? No, calm down, enjoy, praise God, be grateful for your blessings. And that's what I've been. But it's like, this was too late in April. This was too late in May. I said the same thing I'm saying now in June. And I felt more pressure to not say it. I still said it, but it's like, anomaly, just relax. Like, are you that brainwashed by Trump or Fox News that you don't realize you can't shut the entire country off for 8 months? Like, this was too late, 2 weeks into it. And no one seems to care. Even now, it's like election. It's a big election, but there's a bigger story. It's called the country shut down under a Republican president and a Republican Senate for 7 months. And we literally can't afford to do this for another week. Every week that we wait, it gets harder to do, and more businesses die. And perhaps airlines and food industry, all these things, like, it's like a fully functioning machine, and it wears out eventually. And I felt this way even before the shutdown about like, you know, cities that my family used to live in that were Italian, and like they were really, really nice, you know, and they were really clean and really safe. And now, no offense, they're not nice, they're not clean, they're not safe. So the country's been wearing down even before COVID-19. And you know, you can see that if you go to a nice suburb, or if you go to a city, maybe you go to a nice part of the city or the shitty part of the city, and you're in a nice part of the city, Taco Bell has some younger employees, some nice people. You go to a shitty part of the city, you can't even go to Jack in the Box because there's crackheads there. The people don't serve you right. So our country's already been wearing down, where it's like places that used to be nice are shitty. Places that are still nice are getting shittier. Like the whole country's been wearing down before this. And because of like having no standards, I guess, or something, a lot of problems at once, our country's already been wearing down. And then they add diversity programs, and it's like, who cares what race they are? Just make sure the best people build the planes. But when you have this where it's like everything's wearing down, and you have people who care more about skin color than content and quality, and they're just constantly just not having standards for everything, lowering the bar for law school, our country's been degrading for 30 years now. And it's already, before this, it's degrading. Now you have the COVID-19 pandemic. Now you have like schools, nurses and doctors are not doing hands-on activities. So your next generation of nurses and doctors not only are dumbed down and stupefied just by society, but now they're dumbed down and stupefied because they learn how to operate on a human being on a Zoom call. So they're going to be shittier than older doctors. The whole country has been wearing down. And this is like a death blow to what's already been happening. You know, it's like at a certain point, people are going to have to take a stand. And that's where we're at now. It's like anomaly. It's like, this has been happening for 30 years, 8 months into a pandemic. I'm sorry. I'm not going to just get on my knees because it's Trump. It's been too far. If he's in the office, he needs to figure out how to do something. And there's plenty of things he could do. First of all, the Supreme Court. Where's the Supreme Court? None of this stuff is constitutional. What's taking them so long? I mean, maybe they have to sit on it for a little bit, but like they should deem this whole thing's unconstitutional yesterday. So, you know, it's like I don't have time to wait because it's already too late. It's like, you know, we're already set back like 100 years, and it's going to take some very extreme behavior to get it right. Like Trump is not that bad. You know, the next Trump is going to be 100 times worse, because when the country gets worse, you get desperate. And this is the story in all of history. It's like, you know, people don't demand an extreme leader. Times get extremely bad and extremely degenerate and extremely corrupt and extremely wear down. And then it takes somebody who's willing to do bigger things to either save it or just let it fall to the wayside. So that's kind of our future, I think, but whatever. All right. What's up with the Supreme Court? I talked about it earlier with the election, but I'm going to read this. I think this is pretty. Sherry said, "We've opened Pandora's box. Not sure how we can get it closed. These things will continue to happen again for any reason they deem appropriate, just because they can, and we've let it happen." Yeah, it's interesting. Pandora, like when I see it as like when Trump won the election, the whole world shifted. Like our whole reality went from like fake, politically correct, hide behind media, nobody really knows what's going on. And when Trump won, the whole world shifted. And in a place where it was like, it's not the same world. It's not Obama. It's not Bush pre-internet. It's internet world. People know what's going on. Trump won. Like it's total shift in reality. The second reality shift was the COVID-19. You know, the Trump reality shift was not going to work out for these elites. You know, it was not going in the right direction, even just his mindset that he got a lot of people into. So I feel like they bamboozled Trump and the country and the world with the COVID-19 shift. And either, you know, I don't know who's in on it or not, but he was not, I don't think he was ready for this. So I think a lot of people, instead of, it's sad, and I understand why, because it's like, if you vote for someone, he's your hero, he's doing so much, and then they shift the reality to the part where they take a light, you know, movement and turn it completely dark, and he has no answers for it. You know, I feel like they had no answers for the Trump shift, and the COVID-19 shift was the answer for the Trump shift. And it's like a fight. Like Trump had a huge hit with his win, and he was just winning. And then they knocked him out and the country out with the COVID-19. And he hasn't, I don't think he could figure, barring a super, huge shift, I don't think Trump could figure out how to shift it back in his direction. It's not an easy thing to do, but I feel like this was like the second reality shift against us, and someone has to shift it. I'm not, I'm trying to put pressure on Trump because like if it's not him, then it has to be us or someone else, because like we can't just sit on this for 5 years because we like Trump. Like you got to figure it out. And especially while he's in office, he's still there for either 2 months or 4 years and 2 months. He's still there. He's there till January. So these are precious moments. Like when Obama was getting out of office, he passed a few things. He did stuff on his way out. Trump has to go full savage on his way out, or he's got to win 4 years. We can't just afford to watch Trump make excuses, Operation Warp Speed, and then he walks out the door. That's like massive betrayal. So it's like we have to hold him accountable. Hopefully you have 4 years, but the problem is now, say Trump like outright lost. I'm not saying he did. He's still there. Say he outright lost and we all knew he was out of the office. Everybody would be holding him accountable right now, being like, Trump, you have 2 months left. Okay. 2 months left. Please do all the right things. No one's doing that because everybody wants him to win the election because he still can. So now it's like, give Trump 2 more months of excuses. It's like QAnon continued, 2 more months of excuses and theories. And if he doesn't win, then nobody held him accountable. No one cared. And then he walks out the door. So it's like, it almost seems like a trap to me, the fact that this election is spanning towards January. Because if he wins, then okay, he's got 4 more years. It's fantastic. But if he doesn't, we just wasted the last 4, 5, 6 months of his presidency waiting for something that never happened. It's like a giant waiting game. So, it's like, it just seems like a trap to me. I'm like, man, like pardon Julian Assange, release all these files, do this, do that. You still have the DOJ, you still have Barr, you still have fire him, hire someone else, whatever you got to do, go rogue. It's like, if you knew you had 2 months, like, what are we doing? Let's get it all done and put the pressure on Biden. But that's not happening. It's like, let's just wait. And that's why I'm like, I don't want to wait. I'm not turning on Trump, but it's like, I don't want to wait for 2 months. I've already waited for 8 months. I don't know. I'm like, I'm going to say what I'm going to say, and people could take it for what it's worth. I'm going to read this comment. Michael said, but if it was anyone else, all the blame would be put on someone else. Yeah, but I think at this point, it's like, if this was someone else, though, I think there would be a lot of people fighting against it harder. Like, I really do think, because Trump has shown so many people so much stuff. Like, people are loyal to Trump. There's 80 million people that are loyal to Trump till the end. And I understand why, but it's like, those people would not be waiting. You get what I'm saying? There's a 0% chance that the 80 million patriots waiting to see if Trump wins or loses, there's a 0% chance they would be waiting under any other circumstance. During a lockdown with a Biden presidency or a Hillary presidency, there's no way this would happen. So that seems like it's part of the trap to me. You have all the biggest patriots. They're playing a waiting game. In March, it was like, wait, because it's Trump. In June, it was wait till the election. In November, it's wait till after the election. In December, it's wait till January. This whole presidency has been a waiting game, and I was patient at the beginning because I'm not like a liar. So it's like, yeah, things take time. If Bill Barr, maybe he really is investigating stuff. I can't just yell at Bill Barr and be like, do it today. Maybe it takes time. In the first year, it's like, yeah, okay, it's going to take some time. In the second year, it's going to take some time. In the third year, it's like, okay, running out of time. In the fourth year, it's like really running out of time. But now, it's like the hourglass always extends. It's either like the greatest story on earth that's going to turn out to be the biggest success story ever, or it's going to be the biggest flop that has run us in circles for 4 years. So it's like I noticed that, where I'm like, I don't know. Everyone wants to hear about the election, but no one wants to hear about the lockdowns. It's wild. But we'll see, though. I mean, I understand, like, there's only so much I could say. I think at the end of the day, like, January, like, unfortunately, just that's what it's going to be. In January, we're going to figure out what the next move is, when we don't truly know right now. So I'm coming to terms with that, where it's like, okay, you can't really, like people are not going to listen to me either way. So, you know, once it's over either way, then people will finally shift. But right now, not so much. All right, let's end on a good note, and then I got to roll out and grab some dinner. I'm hungry. I'm going to read this real quick. Prometheus. This is interesting. He said, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said he told Trump what he could do to stop the vaccines face to face, and he did nothing. Yeah, well, here's the thing. If you see a video of Bill Gates has a video where he said that Trump went to Bill Gates and explained that he wanted to do a vaccine safety council or something with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's big on the vaccines. And Bill Gates basically told Trump, you can find the video if you search for it. He said, don't do that. It's a dead end. So Bill Gates said to Trump, you know, don't do that. And Robert F. Kennedy said, do that. And here's the cold reality that people don't want to admit. Trump sided with Bill Gates. He had the option to go with RFK and be critical of vaccines. He had the option to go with Bill Gates and pump these vaccines out quickly. He went with Bill Gates, you know, so RFK, he didn't do anything for RFK. He did everything for Bill Gates. And it's just the truth. I don't know what else to tell people. Like, I know people want to hallucinate a fantasy where he's secretly holding Fauci accountable. He's not. He's working with them. You know, he did a lot in the first 3 years to fend off things. And this year, he just totally handed over the government to these type of people. And the people like Robert F. Kennedy that we're talking about them, he didn't do anything with. You know, I feel like that's just what happened. It's sad. It's sad. It's sad for me too. I didn't want to think that would happen, but that is what happened. He worked with Bill Gates, not Robert F. Kennedy. And those are two different paths. But whatever. Someone said Congress is the problem, not the temporary prez. I mean, here's the thing, though. When Trump does, like, I'm just going to be honest. When Trump does good things, he did it. You don't give Congress credit for the wall or this. You give Trump credit. So Trump's the good guy when everything good happens. When bad things happen, he's not responsible. He was part of the lockdown. He was part of the task force. He was part of signing off on it. He's not fighting it. I mean, you could blame Congress, but when Trump does something good, it's all credit to him. When he does things that are bad, this is what I'm talking about, though. It's like people are more passionate about protecting Trump than they are protecting their country. You deserve communism. I feel bad for innocent families, absolutely. But to the people that want to fight me, like, you deserve communism. I don't feel bad for you. You're the reason it exists. You're more prone to make excuses for Trump than you are stopping communism. It's like, well, he had no part in it. It's like, that's not true. He had a huge part in it. And, you know, it's like when he's there, he does everything. When he doesn't do it, it's not his fault. It's like, you deserve communism. Everybody who said socialism sucks for 3 years and then it came to America and now they're like, well, socialism sucks slightly less when Trump said, it's like, well, you deserve it. Well, welcome to communism. That's what you deserve. It's, you know, if you reject it, you reject it. If you make excuses for it, you deserve it. So it's what you get. It's like, well, he didn't do it. Congress did it. I mean, he did virtually nothing to stop it. Someone said, getting hungry I am. You're talking like a Yoda, but okay, I feel it. Someone said, sadly, anomaly is right. I wish I could just hallucinate things and lie to people, but there's hundreds of other channels that'll do that. They sell hopium. They've constantly been wrong. I mean, you could check my reporting from even 2-3 years ago. Nearly everything I've said this year stands up to it. How many fake channels are there that get even more views that say, "Oh, anomaly, they're gonna arrest Podesta tomorrow on Easter, and you want to hear this, so I'll tell you exactly what you want to believe." And then everyone's like, "Yay!" And then it never happens, and then they just make up a new story, and you keep following these people. I follow some of these people on Twitter, and I'm like, yo, they've been wrong 100 times. Like, literally everything they've ever said has been wrong, and people still follow them because it sounds good. It's like, well, since everything else I said is wrong, secret watermark ballots, there's a sting operation, and they're gonna secretly just arrest everybody in any way. And it's like, you lied about everything, but it sounds good. It's like, I can't do that. Like, there's enough liars out there. I don't know. I'm just shocked so many people believe them. I was like, I've been skeptical for years, but I'm like, damn, they're still going and people still believe it. It's like, I know I'm 0 for 50 with my predictions, but I mean, the watermark ballots, it's just you got to wait for another 5 years. It's going to happen during Biden's transition. It's like, at what point do you just unfollow? It's wild. Some of these people I follow are wild. I'm like, damn. Either they're straight up agents or they're just like really dumb or fake. I don't know. But I'm like, I don't want to get into it. I'm just like, I'm just shocked at some of these people. Someone said, I wish the watermark ballots was true. But this here, and I'm gonna slowly break it down and we'll continue. This is the thing with having hope. You could still have hope. You don't have to believe a fake story to believe hope. So here's the hope. If you like Trump, if you want him to win, here's the two hopeful stories: Supreme Court and state electors, or state legislators. There's a path for Trump to have a legal victory, even without that story. So it's like you believe the fake story, and then it's like, I want to have hope. It's like there are paths. That's just not one of them. It's like if I told you, it reminds me of those commercials where you just take the pill. It's like, anomaly, I'm 100 pounds overweight. How do I lose weight? It's like, I don't know. You're going to have to eat healthy for a couple months and probably work out and change your lifestyle. And then that's like the hard answer that no one wants to hear. So what commercials make all the money? They're like, here's the magic pill. You take the magic pill and you just lose all your weight. And they make a fortune lying to people because everybody wants the easy path. And it's just not true. It's the same thing with the watermark ballots. Like, that's just a story that's so good. It's like, I don't have to do anything. It's already been done. Trump already won. Any day now, all my enemies are going to go to jail and I'm going to dance like Richard Simmons and lose all my weight with the pill. It's like, no, it's the same exact thing. It's like, everyone falls for that story. It's been that way for 3 years. Like, anomaly. I'm like, why? What's up? You seem happy. That's good. Like, I don't have to do anything. Bill Barr's going to save my life. Durham report. And I'm like, who's Durham? They're like, Durham's that guy who I've never seen in my life. He only has a few CGI pictures and there's no video. Well, I'm like, why do you think Durham's going to save you? You're like, you love the government. And you're like, Durham's going to save me because a guy told me that anonymously on a message board. I'm like, wait, you believed in an anonymous guy on a message board? Like, you must be working with Mossad if you don't agree that the government's going to save. It's like, if that makes you feel good, knock yourself out. But it's like, every time it doesn't happen, these people are like, they're like, well, I'm 0 for 20. Every prediction I've ever had is wrong. But it's not my fault. You're still an agent working for Mossad if you don't agree with me. Because any day now, John Durham's going to come to reality and arrest John Podesta and Ellen. And you're like, I maybe that'll happen, but I just don't think it's possible. Tyson said with the super chat, Supreme Court accepts Texas lawsuit, docket number. Awesome. Good luck. I mean, I think Trump could still win, but he's going to win with the Supreme Court, or he's going to win with the state electorate. It's like, anomaly is working for Mossad because he doesn't agree with the Zionist plan. We're going to save the world by sitting on our computer chairs. All we have to do is believe QAnon. It's like, I don't, like, maybe John Durham's going to save your life, but maybe you're wrong about that. I don't know. It's like, everybody wants the pill. Everyone wants the workout pill. I don't have to do anything. It's all just going to happen. I take this pill, I lose 100 pounds. At a certain point, it's like, you got to work out. There's a few paths to victory for Trump. Secret watermark ballots are not one of them. But that's always the biggest theory. It supersedes every other theory. It's like, Anomaly's telling me I have to, like, look out for myself and, protect myself and my family. And, that does not sound nearly as good as this guy who tells me, paramedic tells me that, Trump has a secret plan. He's going to wipe my poopy butt. And I don't have to do anything. I just have to literally sit here and cheer on lockdowns until I realize the lockdown's bad. Then we stop cheering on lockdowns and we pretend like we never cheered on lockdowns. And then we just yell at everybody who told us the truth for 2 months. And, even when Barr and Durham and Sessions don't do anything, we never lose faith. We just hop to the next fake story. I mean, it sounds much better than, believing in God instead of a message board and trying to, like, look out for yourself and contribute to society. It sounds a lot better to just wait for Bill Barr to do it. Someone said you don't have to work out, just do keto. Oh, I mean, diet and exercise are all good. I mean, in some form. So I said, how do we lose weight? I mean, I'm not a life coach or health coach. I'm just saying to lose weight, it's probably better to eat better, have a better schedule, work out more. It's probably going to help you more than like the Q pill. They're like, just take the pill. Durham will come to your house at night and rock you to sleep like a baby. John Durham, you're going to see his beard because, you know, they always post it. He's going to rock you to sleep at night. And every time he rocks you, a pound is you're going to lose a pound. So you don't have to work out. You just wait for John Durham, who may or may not exist actually. And every rock, it's like 1 pound, 2 pound, 3 pound. And after a couple of minutes, you'll be sound asleep like a baby and you'll be a thin person. You'll be jacked. You'll look like, what's that guy's name again? I don't know. Someone strong. Arnold Schwarzenegger. There you go. Wait, did SCOTUS just accept the lawsuit? That's what someone said in the chat. I don't know. Should I look it up here? I'll go on. See, to me, it's like, it's going to be like, they accepted the lawsuit. And it's just going to keep like extending. Let's see. I'll go on Twitter. Twitter never lies to me. Here's Ben Shapiro. This is why I can't stand this guy. Here's him saying, in other words, get the vaccine, dopes. He's calling out Elijah Schaffer. This is just a battle. He says the vaccine is 95% effective in preventing you to get the vaccine. Here, I'll say it in my Ben Shapiro voice. Welcome. Hey, my name is Ben Shapiro. I'm a conservative. I believe in vaccines and Israel, but if you say I believe in Israel, you'll call you anti-Semite. The vaccine is 95% effective in preventing you from getting the virus, and it also mitigates the severity of the disease. 99% of those who actually get COVID will survive. In other words, get the vaccine, dopes. I'm Ben Shapiro. I'm so conservative. That's a terrible Ben Shapiro impression, but he's like, get the vaccine. Ben wants you to get the vaccine. He is such a snake. That guy is like the biggest snake. People are going, Emily, why do you hate Ben? I'm like, because he's such a liar. Why? I mean, he's like, I believe in free speech. Unless that free speech goes against my ethnicity or my religion, then I don't believe in free speech. It's anti-Semitic to suggest I have dual loyalty. I just fly over to Israel, and of course, I love my own people. I mean, of course, I'm a Jew, so I love my own people, and I fly there, and I'm going to live there eventually. But if you suggest that I like my own people, which I obviously do because I talk about it every day, you're an anti-Semite. You have to buy my bed sheets and get vaccines. It's like, oh yeah, we're really on the same team, me and this guy. What a joke. Yeah, just get the vaccine, dopes. That's Ben Shapiro. He's like, buy my sheets, get the vaccine. You get the vaccine. Sorry, it's inappropriate, very unprofessional. Tyson McKeever says, I have the docket number. Look on the Supreme Court website. It would not have the docket number if it wasn't accepted. Is anyone reporting on it or just you? I'm just trying to see. He moved to Tennessee. Exciting for Tennessee. He could subvert Tennessee. Now he's like, hey, fellow cowboys. He's like, what if we all got the vaccine together? Just me and the conservative boys, just getting the vaccine, selling out the First Amendment. You know, I'm just like you. And then they're like, it's like, bro, there's not enough cowboy hats to make me believe that one. But, you know, not. He's like, man, nothing says Tennessee like me in a cowboy hat and Dan Crenshaw with a vaccine. I mean, what's more American than me and Dan Crenshaw in a cowboy hat taking vaccines? I mean, it doesn't get more American than that. I mean, come on. I mean, buy some death insurance. You're going to die eventually. Buy some death insurance. Man, big win for Tennessee there. That's really going to happen. It's a big win for Tennessee. All right, I'm going to read this. Sterling says, Sterling did not like my QAnon song. Hold on. He said, do you not understand that arrests, prosecutions, etc., including evidence, and this is all in caps, by the way. So I'll say it's screaming because Sterling is probably screaming at me. He did not like my Q song. He said, do you understand that arrests, prosecutions, etc., including evidence, is not for the superior Supreme Court, but for the military courts? Anomaly, you don't understand. I'm a loyal Q supporter. It's happening behind closed doors. The military tribunals. John McCain got executed. Epstein somewhere in Gitmo. Ellen DeGeneres is on house arrest. Joe Biden slipped in the dog, or that's a lie for sure. But it's like, Anomaly, how dare you? Just get the vaccine, folks. I mean, come on. I mean, listen. I'm not going to say I'm the smartest guy in the world, but I have a very high IQ, and I'm a lawyer, so my wife's a doctor, so we understand. Just get the vaccine, you dummy. Okay. I mean, just get the vaccine and buy death insurance because you're going to die. Buy gold and just get the vax. No, I agree, man. We have the same values, me and that guy. We're totally on the same team. Someone said, dude, just get a motorcycle. Maybe. Look at the Supreme Court website, docket number. All right. I hear you, my guy. People can do that. You got the super chat, but I don't want to get railroaded for my impressions. It's all good. We got people on YouTube too. We got over 1,000 people still. Dude, everybody was loving the Q song, but that one guy was furious. He's like, anomaly, you don't understand. This doesn't happen in the Supreme Court. It's a military tribunal. Hillary didn't get locked up. We got locked up. John Podesta didn't get locked up. We got locked up. Epstein escaped. I don't even think he died. I think he escaped. I'm just going to say it. But in general, we got locked up. It's like, anomaly, this is all part of the plan. In order to hold Ellen DeGeneres and Chrissy Teigen accountable, Trump has to systemically, with the help of David Wilcox on YouTube, explain to everybody how they're doing a secret mission that they broadcast onto YouTube, which obviously makes it not secret, in order to arrest Chrissy Teigen. There's no other way to arrest Chrissy Teigen besides shutting down the U.S. government, shutting down Italy, forcing millions of people to lose their job, crushing small businesses as Amazon grows, funneling $10 billion to Bill Gates' vaccine companies, and letting Fauci be employed while Scott Atlas resigns. There's no other way to arrest Chrissy Teigen, anomaly. I mean, trust me. Trust the plan, man. Trust the plan. You can't just simply arrest Tom Hanks without destroying the entire country. That's the only way to do it. There's no other explanation for what's going on. It's 8D chess. You guys talk about 4D chess. Trump plays 4D chess sometimes. I'm talking 10D chess. I'm talking there's so many dimensions that people don't even understand. Like you have Chrissy Teigen, Tom Hanks, and the only way to hold them accountable is by shutting the whole country down. There's no other way. You can't just simply hold them accountable. You can't have evidence and just say, okay, we got you, and we don't have to destroy the whole country to do it. You have to systemically destroy every city in America. You have to tank the economy. You have to destroy the Constitution. It's the only way. I mean, it's not even possible to arrest somebody otherwise. And more importantly, you need David Wilcox to lie to 1 million people on YouTube and tell everybody. He has to announce the plan that they're going to secretly sneak up on celebrities, because it's a plan so secretive, so planned, calculated for years how to get into their houses. This is what David Wilcox said. It's so secret that David Wilcox is going to tell you before it happens on YouTube, because nothing says secret plan like letting David Wilcox spill the beans live on YouTube for 500,000 people. And in order to let it happen, they need to let you know for 3 years on a message board, because there's no way they could just do it and show proof and just explain to everybody out in the open that it happened. They have to tell you everything that's happening on a message board for 3 years. So if you could see it, literally everybody involved with the criminal scheme can also see it and do something about it. But this is where it gets crazy. There's disinfo. Disinfo is necessary. So the reason that it's secretive but not secret is because there's so much disinfo that when Ellen DeGeneres reads it, she doesn't know what to believe because there's so much disinfo. But me, I know everything to believe because I have a secret decoding plan where I understand, but Ellen and her team of like 100 PR people can't figure it out. So I'm so smart that I can figure it out, but no one else could possibly figure it out. So you have to trust the plan. Just sit and watch your country get destroyed and understand that this all has to happen in order for Chrissy Teigen to be finally held accountable, because you just can't do it any other way. Roger Stone was held accountable. They didn't need to shut the whole country down. Flynn was held accountable. Heck, even Manafort was held accountable. They didn't have to destroy the entire economy and the world global reset to do it. But if you want to get these If you want to get these celebrities, you have to tank the country. You have to destroy the Constitution. You have to close down churches and keep abortion sites open. You have to. There's no other way, Anomaly. You don't understand. There's no other way to get to Tom Hanks besides closing down churches. You have to close down churches and let Epstein disappear to get Tom Hanks. But I know. But that's it. So, if you want to know more about the vaccine, guys, don't listen to me. Go to Ben Shapiro's Twitter. He'll tell you all about these new vaccines. He's probably never done he's probably done 20 segments on Israel this year, and then he'll tell you not to suggest anyone has dual loyalty. He's like, Israel, 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 Israel. You're an anti-Semite if you suggest I like Israel, even though I obviously like Israel. And then he probably did no segments on on the mRNA vaccine to explain that you guys, it was theoretical before they made it. Not just experimental, theoretical, says Wikipedia. But you're a dummy. You're a dummy if you don't get the vaccine. Welcome to Ben Shapiro's conservatism. Because listen, his wife's a doctor. Let him tell you. I don't want to spread theories about what literally the vaccine is. I want you to go to his Twitter and let him shame you into getting it. It sounds like a helpful American citizen. Nothing screams facts don't care about your feelings like lashing out with feelings about anybody who believes in the First Amendment because you think the truth is anti-Semitic. I mean, that just screams integrity. But here it is. In other words, get the vaccine, dopes. You're a dope if you don't get the vaccine. You're a dope. That's what Ben thinks. You're a big dope. What type of dope wouldn't get the vaccine? I mean, if you don't trust Ben Shapiro, who do you trust? Him and Elijah fighting is the funniest thing to me. All right, I got to get off. I'm going to get in trouble. All right. God bless you guys. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. Have a beautiful day. I'll be back soon, and I think I'll have another video. I don't know. It's been like 3 hours, so I never get as much as I want to get done, but I had a fun time. Hopefully you did too. I'll be back soon.